The great wave of magical technology. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 401, Putting the Blame on Others. Yunfan did not listen to the old man's explanation, but looked for a place he liked on the map. Yunfan had only two requirements for the place he wanted to buy. The first point was that it could not be too close to the center of the city. If it was too close to the center of the city, it would be too obvious. If he wanted to build a space teleportation array, it would attract a lot of attention. The second point was that the area could not be too small, otherwise it would be very disadvantageous for him to deploy troops. In the end, Yunfan took a fancy to a house in the north of the city that had been abandoned for a long time. The location of this house was quite hidden, and the area was also dozens of kilometers. How much gold coins does this property cost? Do you want this property? However, the half-hundred-year-old deacon frowned. Why has this property been sold? It's not sold, but there are some problems with this property. Many people have died in the past, and once it is 3 o'clock in the morning, some people hear strange sounds. There may be undead in this place. The half-hundred-year-old deacon hesitated for a moment, but still told the actual situation. This is the place with the problem. Yunfan was slightly stunned, remembering that when he was drinking in the restaurant, someone mentioned this place, and the letter from the Sky Magician also mentioned this place. Yunfan was indeed more and more curious about this place. What kind of secrets existed here? At this time, there was a clamor outside the door. Yunfan and the old man couldn't help but look outside. It turned out that the girl who was responsible for receiving Yunfan just now was in trouble. In front of him, a greasy-haired boy was flirting with the girl who received Yunfan at the beginning. The old man who was talking to Yunfan couldn't help but change his face when he saw this situation, and then said to Yunfan, "Sir, please wait a moment. I will go to deal with it first and come back soon." After the old man finished speaking, he hurriedly walked towards the direction of the girl who received Yunfan at the beginning. "Master Andy, what wind blew you here?" the old man said respectfully to the greasy-haired boy. The girl who received Yunfan at the beginning took this opportunity to hide behind the old man. "Grandpa, Fear, go back and receive your client," the old man said, while winking at the girl who received Yunfan at the beginning. The girl immediately understood, looked back at Yunfan, and walked towards Yunfan. "Deacon Daka, what do you mean by this? Am I not a guest? You dare to let fear receive other people? It seems that your Chamber of Commerce does not want to stay here anymore," the greasy boy threatened viciously. "Master Andy, that's not what I meant. Fear was the one who received that guest at the beginning. We should have a first come first served principle, right?" the old man explained. "First come first served. I never know what first come first served means in this Sri Lanka city," the greasy-haired and powdered boy said with an evil smile. "Deacon Daka, I have told you about that matter many times. Do you want to give me an answer too?" the greasy-haired and powdered boy said, while looking at the girl who received Yunfan at the beginning, his eyes full of lustful light. "Master Andy, our Fear is just an ordinary girl. How can she be in your eyes? I think it's better to forget it," the old man continued. "Deacon Daka, don't think that you are superior just because I call you a deacon. Do you believe that I will drive you out of Sri Lanka city? If so, you will definitely be expelled from the Blue Sea Chamber of Commerce. Do you believe it?" the greasy-haired and powdered boy threatened. "You dare?" the girl named Fear who received Yunfan at the beginning shouted crisply. "What am I afraid of?" Andy raised his chin slightly. "This small blue ocean Chamber of Commerce, let me manipulate it, not to mention being presumptuous. To tell you the truth, if I like you, you should just follow me obediently. Last time I fell in love with a girl, that girl was so stubborn that she would rather commit suicide than obey me, so I killed all her family members and sold them as slaves for your grandfather and your family. You should think about it carefully. Fear, the little girl, is not very old. She has no scheming and is very kind. Most of them are not afraid of death, especially such a beautiful girl in front of him. They are generally very arrogant. It is also common for them to commit suicide out of pride. Andy doesn't want to see this happen. Master Andy, the old man persuaded, the Blue Sea Chamber of Commerce is in the name of the Legion Commander anyway. If you really do something too extreme, I'm afraid. Legion Commander. Andy raised his eyebrows. No wonder. I wonder why you dare to reject me again and again. But do you think the Legion Commander will make things difficult for our Stephen family because of you? Bang. A heavy kick full of anger kicked Andy in the chest, not only breaking the pendant ornaments on his body, but also kicking Andy to fall backwards. No one expected that something unexpected would happen. The little girl named Fear turned out to be a very powerful 5th level warrior. How dare you? Clang, clang, clang. The sound of drawing swords sounded for a while, and a group of soldiers behind Andy suddenly shouted angrily, and some even drew their weapons. Andy quickly got up, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and stretched out his hand to stop his soldiers. Being assigned to the Eastern Legion and becoming a corps leader, Andy was definitely not as useless as he seemed. His soldiers knew how ruthless he was. It's over, it's over, it's all over now. This little girl is probably going to be killed. These soldiers all understood that when Andy was obviously very angry, but temporarily held back, it only meant at this moment, Andy was extremely angry and was thinking about how to vent his anger. You know, his cruelty was very famous in the Eastern Legion. It stands to reason that such a person should never be recruited into the army, but his identity was very special, the youngest son of the Deputy Legion Commander. Andy stood up and squinted his eyes, staring at the little girl named Fear like a wild wolf, and said slowly, "This kick is quite heavy. Do you want to kill me? I'm curious who gave you the courage to assassinate me, the Vanguard officer." Chapter 402. Take action. Yunfan couldn't help but shake his head. The people of the Stephen family were really mean. Originally, he was bullying others, but now he came to assassinate him. This is simply lying with open eyes. Master Andy, Fear has no intention of assassinating you. The old man hurriedly explained. What do you mean by no intention of assassinating me? Does it count as assassination only after I lose my life? Grandpa, don't argue with this bastard. I don't believe it. There is no place for reason. Fear said angrily. She has been enduring here for a long time. If it weren't for her grandfather, she would have exploded a long time ago. Fear, little girl, you still don't know what's good for you. If you go back and be my concubine, I can still spare your grandfather and the Blue Ocean Chamber of Commerce. Otherwise, you can wait to be expelled. Andy threatened. Master Andy, we are doing business in an orderly manner and have paid all the taxes we should have paid. Why are you driving us out? Aren't you being too overbearing? Even the old man was very angry at the other party's words and could not help but retort. Why should I drive you out? Just because my last name is Stephen and my father is a deputy commander of the Legion and the second elder of the Stephen family. Andy said viciously. Is there no law in this world? The old man was so angry that he trembled all over. I'm the law. Old man, be obedient and offer your granddaughter to me. In the future, you will be my grandfather. No one here dares to bully you. Otherwise, I think you should know the consequences. You. Haha. I didn't expect that there would be beasts like you in the Eastern Legion. No wonder His Majesty wants to discipline your Eastern Legion. With what you have done, how much combat effectiveness can the Eastern Legion have? Yunfan said in a flat tone. Who are you? How dare you criticize our Eastern army here? Many of the soldiers changed their expressions, and they all looked at their Andy. At this time, Yunfan had also come to the side of these people. Yunfan kicked Andy fiercely, and kicked him dozens of meters away. Andy, who was dozens of meters away, turned pale, stood up from the ground tremblingly, and said in panic, "Who are you? You dare to cause trouble in the Eastern Army? Don't you want to live?" There was a trace of pity in the eyes of the soldiers brought by Andy, because he knew the evil personality of his son. Yunfan glanced at Andy Young coldly. Ever since Andy said before that he had destroyed someone's home because of robbing a woman and killed someone's relatives and sold all the family members of the person as slaves, Yunfan was very disgusted. Perhaps because of his origin as a slave servant, he felt very uncomfortable in his heart. This kind of person can no longer be called a human being, but a beast. Ji Yunfan looked at Andy Yang and instantly sentenced Andy to death. Someone's family was destroyed without any grudges. When Ji Yunfan thought of the tragic deaths and trafficking of children and women, he felt a surge of nameless anger in his heart. On this earth, everyone is equal. Although he came to this continent, Ji Yunfan was very disdainful of the slavery system here. Although there were many evils hidden on this land, Ji Yunfan could not control them, but once he encountered them himself, he could not bear the anger. Ha ha ha. Andy, whose face was pale, suddenly grinned, and his smile was very bright. I really don't know whether to say that you are stupid or arrogant. This is the base camp of the Eastern Legion, and I'm the son of the Deputy Legion Commander. Do you know why there was no City Lord before? It was because he offended our Stephen family, and offended my father. Huh. Ji Yunfan frowned slightly. I didn't expect it to be because of this kind of thing. It seems that the Eastern Legion is really in chaos. Andy continued to smile and said, so what if you are powerful? You must know that this is my territory. If I want to kill someone here, it's as easy as stealing a chicken. Even if you have some identity. So what? How many young adventurers on the continent die on the way out every year because of adventure? How can your family find out? Even if you have the strength, what can you do? After all, you are alone, so even if you want to kill me, you have to hide it in your heart. Isn't it written in the book that a man of insight is a hero? No matter how powerful you are, no one will be able to save you. As long as you die, everything will be over. Andy sighed. Remember that 3 years ago, I offended a few people from a big family, but that guy was killed by me in the end, and was eaten clean by those beasts. Dude, do you understand? Andy squinted his eyes. Strength does not necessarily represent everything. At least now, I have my dad's support here. Andy raised his chin and said loudly, go ahead, kill him. He is the assassin who assassinated this young master, and this young master has discovered him. Kill. Kill. Andy's men all drew their knives, raised their swords, and rushed forward howling. Some big families who led the army would trust their dead pools the most. Even Ji Yunfan's soldiers were extremely loyal to Ji Yunfan. These people were the same as Ji Yunfan's soldiers. They were arranged by Andy's father, so they were all extremely loyal. Andy gave an order, and these soldiers rushed up one by one. Get out. Suddenly there was a loud noise like thunder in the clear sky. Ji Yunfan did not take out his weapon. On the one hand, Ji Yunfan felt that there was no need for it. The second point was that Ji Yunfan did not want to kill these people now and make things worse. Ji Yunfan took a step suddenly and quickly walked around these people. Suppress. Ji Yunfan circulated his fighting spirit throughout his body, and one person would be knocked away with every punch. Ah, no, ah. Various shrill screams rang out, and they were endless. The soldiers who were howling and rushing forward madly all fell to the ground, and some of them were torn apart, with blood staining the ground red. They were all in a miserable state, but they did not lose their lives. This was also the result of Ji Yunfan's concern, and not wanting to expose his identity, so he did not take any ruthless action. This. Andy, who had everything under control before, turned pale. He stood there in a daze, looking at the soldiers who had all fallen on the ground, and stammered, fuck, how are you so powerful? A group of people who were watching the excitement. Some were stunned, some were full of admiration, and even fear looked at Ji Yunfan without blinking. Chapter 403 First Encounter. Get out of here with your people. Don't force me to kill them. Others may care about your Stephen family, but I won't. At worst, I'll kill you and leave. Ji Yunfan said coldly. Retreat quickly. Andy shouted and fled. Young man, I'm sorry, because of me, you're probably in big trouble this time. The Stephen family won't let you go easily. You better leave quickly. The old man said to Ji Yunfan with an apologetic look on his face. Don't worry, I'll be fine. The Stephen family and I have been at odds for a long time. Ji Yunfan said calmly. Let's not talk about this for now. I've taken a fancy to that piece of land. Tell me the price, old sir. That piece of land? Young sir, you're not really interested in that damn place, are you? That place is deadly. The deed too. That place has been in our Blue Sea Chamber of Commerce for more than 10 years. Not to mention selling it. No one wants it, even if it's given away for free. At first, Some people didn't believe in it and bought it, but they died suddenly not long after. The old man said, "It's like this, it seems to be really evil." Yunfan was slightly shocked, but still decided to take the land. "But I still decided to take it. Young sir, old sir, you don't have to say anything. I will never change my decision." Yunfan smiled and said, "Tell me the price." "Young sir, what are you talking about? You just helped us. If it was other places, I couldn't make the decision, so I would give you this place for free." The old man said hurriedly, "Give it to me, old sir. Will this make you feel embarrassed?" Yunfan said with some regret. "Embarrassing? No, no, this place has already been abandoned by the Blue Sea Chamber of Commerce. If we can give it to someone, we will be so happy." The old man still said with some embarrassment, "This place is really evil, I'm afraid." "Don't worry, I'll be fine. In that case, I'll give you the deed in a minute," the old man said as he walked towards the inner room. "Young sir, are you really going to take that land? That place is really scary. I've been there secretly before." "There," fear whispered to Yunfan. After a while, the old man walked into the room with an old deed. "This is the deed of the House of the Dead. Young sir, have you really decided? It's not too late to regret it now." The old man tried to stop him again and again. "I've thought it through, and I want this place." Yunfan smiled slightly and calmly took the deed from the old man. "You don't know how to appreciate kindness, do you know? That place is really problematic." Fear yelled at Yunfan angrily. She had a good impression of the boy who helped her, so she didn't want Yunfan to get into trouble, so she kept trying to stop Yunfan. "If there is no problem, I don't want it." Yunfan smiled slightly, "But I still have to thank Miss Fear for her concern." "What kind of secret is there here?" Yunfan left the Blue Sea Chamber of Commerce and came to the location marked on the deed with the title deed. "Brother, let's not go there. This place gives me a very uneasy feeling." At this time, Yunfan heard a woman's voice not far away. Yunfan couldn't help but look in that direction, only to see two young people, a man and a woman, walking not far away. From the clothes and dress of the two people, it can be seen that the identities of the two people are not simple. "Lona, I told you a long time ago that I didn't let you follow me, but you insisted on coming with me," the man in gorgeous clothes said unhappily. "I didn't expect the atmosphere here to be so weird. There's not even a sound," the girl said as she looked around and shuddered. "If it wasn't weird here, why would I come here to find out?" the man in gorgeous clothes shouted in confusion. "Brother, our father doesn't let us come here, or we should go back," the girl said to the man very uneasy. "If you want to go back, you can go back. Anyway, I won't go back. Our father controls everything about me. I'm not his doll. He doesn't let me go, but I have to go," the man in gorgeous clothes said angrily. "Our father is a warlord dictator. Today I will use my actions to tell him that he is not always right," the man in gorgeous clothes said excitedly. Yunfan watched everything from a distance and smiled slightly, thinking in his heart, sure enough, he is still a child. But they are all similar to Hadjid and the others in character, full of rebellion, and don't want to live under the glory of their fathers. Wait a minute, I just said that the little girl's name is Rona. Could it be that they are the children of the Legion commander? If so, then this is interesting. But what does the Legion commander of the Eastern Legion mean? Yunfan was puzzled. He knew there was a problem here, but he didn't solve it quickly. At this time, the man in gorgeous clothes seemed to sense something. He frowned slightly and said coldly, "Who is sneaking here? Come out quickly. I didn't expect this kid to be so sensitive. I just made a little noise, and he found it." Yunfan was slightly surprised. Yunfan walked out from behind the tree, where he was originally standing, and smiled at the man and woman. "Hello. Who are you? Why are you following us secretly?" the man in gorgeous clothes said to Yunfan in a bad tone. "Please, I came here first, okay? How can you say that I followed you secretly?" Yunfan said angrily. "You came here first. Is there any conspiracy? Or is the problem here related to you?" the man in gorgeous clothes said relentlessly. "Please use your brain to think about it. I have been here for less than 2 days, and the problem here has been going on for several years." Yunfan was amused by the man in gorgeous clothes. "Then what do you say you are doing here? This is my territory now." Do I need to tell you that I'm here? But what do you mean by coming to my territory for no reason? Yunfan said as he took out the deed and showed it in front of the two. You actually bought this place. Don't you know that this is the house of the dead? Anyone who has his eyes on this place is dead. Chapter 404, Legend of the Immortal. The girl looked at Yunfan in disbelief. Yunfan was embarrassed by Bellona's retort. Ahem, little sister, don't be so blunt. Although what you said is the truth, don't say it so easily. This way, it will make others lose face. The man in gorgeous clothes added. I say, brother, do you know how to speak? What you said is not as good as what the girl said. Yunfan muttered to himself, if I meet someone with a bad temper, I will have to attack you guys. Sure enough, they are all children with little social experience. I'm sorry, brother, I just told the truth. By the way, my name is Rona, and this arrogant guy is my brother Mondo. I wonder what your name is? The girl named Rona said carelessly. This way of speaking, no matter how you look at it, it seems like a military ruffian in the army. She is worthy of being the daughter of the Legion commander. My name is Dan. Yunfan. Yunfan, after a slight hesitation, reported his name on Earth. The reason why he did not dare to report his name was that he was a little worried that the other party would find out his identity from his name. Yunfan, this name is quite strange. It feels different from ours, but I can't tell why it is different. Rona frowned slightly and said with some confusion. Yunfan, this name doesn't sound like a name on our continent, but rather a name on the East continent. I once heard from my teacher that there is a mysterious country in the east of the Central Land. The gorgeously dressed man Mondo suddenly said. In the east of the Central Land, there is actually such a mysterious country. I didn't know it. When I have a chance in the future, I must go to the Eastern Kingdom to see how mysterious it is. Rona said with some yearning. The two brothers' desire to explore unknown things is really beyond ordinary people. Has your teacher ever told you what the difference is between the people in the Eastern continent and us? Yunfan asked curiously, with a faint expectation in her heart. My teacher said that the people there are not supernatural, but they all have yellow skin and black hair. Except for the language being a little different from ours, there is not much difference. Oh, by the way, their way of cultivation is completely different from ours. There, they call it cultivation of immortals. Mondo thought for a moment and said, yellow skin and black hair cultivation of immortals. Yunfan's breathing became rapid. He never thought that the legendary Eastern continent would be somewhat similar to what he imagined. You mean the people there call their way of cultivation of immortals? My teacher told me that it is a very mysterious country. It is said that the people there are like gods, able to call the wind and rain, but I don't know if it is true or not. Mondo continued. Can call the wind and rain, or what? It's not a special ability. Can't our wind magicians and water magicians do it? Rona curled her lips and said with disdain. I don't know why. My teacher said that calling the wind and rain is different from ordinary wind magic and water magic. It is a very powerful supernatural power. Mondo scratched his head and said, on this continent, there are actually Eastern immortals. The existence of immortals. How is this possible? This is a legendary thing. I only saw a few words in the family's collection of books. Didn't the Eastern immortals disappear from this world a long time ago? At this time, Sakadin's incredible exclamation came. Sakadin, tell me about this Eastern immortal clan. Yunfan said. The Eastern Immortal Clan is a very powerful race. Legend has it that they are not from this world, but came from the outside world. They have unparalleled strength. Their strongest has the same strength as the god of creation, and is even 3 times more powerful than the god of creation. Sakadin said very seriously. It is said that immortals of the same level are stronger than gods of the same level. However, it is said that the Eastern Immortals had all left this world 50 million years ago. How can there still be members of the Eastern Immortals on this continent? Sakadin said puzzledly. They left here 50 million years ago. So there is a way to leave this world. Yunfan became excited. Since others can leave this world, he can definitely leave this world and go back. In theory, it is possible. As long as you reach the strength of a powerful god, you can break the barrier of the world. But according to the records at home, once you break through the barrier of the world, you will no longer be protected by this world, and will fall into the endless chaos. I don't know what chaos means. Anyway, it should mean very dangerous, right? Sakadin said. Can I leave this world after reaching the strength of a god? What is there outside the endless chaos? Is my original home in another world outside the endless chaos? Yunfan's heart was full of unknowns and doubts, and he was also full of curiosity to explore the unknown. One day, I must reach the power of God and go to the world outside this world to see how big this sealed universe is and how mysterious it is. It is not a matter of one day or one night to reach the power of God. How many people in the entire God continent have reached the realm of God? Sakadin shook his head slightly. To be honest, he was very optimistic about Yunfan's future, but he didn't think Yunfan had much confidence in reaching the realm of God. My realm is comparable to that of the Lord God. Becoming God is more difficult than becoming the Lord God. It should not be said that both are equally difficult, because without the fall of the Lord God, it is impossible to form a new Lord God's godhood, and a new Lord God will be born. Without the Lord God's godhood, it is difficult for ordinary gods to comprehend the essence of this world, so the possibility of becoming the legendary God is extremely low, which is like a dead circle. God, the Lord God, and the Lord Godhead. The relationship between the three is full of contradictions. If you want to obtain the Lord Godhead, you must kill the Lord God. It is basically impossible for gods who have not reached the realm of the Lord God to kill the Lord God, because the Lord God can already use the original power of the world. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 405, Hostility. Maybe this kid is really not sure. Maybe he can do it. An idea suddenly appeared in Sakadin's mind. If the small tree in his body is really the legendary world tree, let alone becoming God, even becoming the god of creation is possible. But how can that thing exist? In fact, you don't have to reach the realm of the Lord God or the realm of God to leave this world. If I research and search for spaceships that can shuttle through the world in chaos, I can also leave this world. Yunfan said to himself. Yunfan, are you daydreaming? Where is such a spaceship? Sakadin obviously did not believe Yunfan's words. It's the power of science. You don't understand. Yunfan smiled slightly. I can even use the principles of science to simulate the creation of this world. How is this possible? The world was created by the God of creation. How can it be simulated? This is absolutely impossible. Sakadin shook his head desperately and looked like he couldn't believe it. Is it possible that we won't know until we try it later? Yunfan smiled mysteriously. When Yunfan was still a genius scientist on Earth, he used that mysterious seed to simulate the formation of the world. Of course, the simulation was not successful in the end. Now that I think about it, it should be due to the lack of magic theory. As long as the magic theory is completed, he may not be able to create a world. By then, he himself will be the creator god. I'm really curious about what you call science. It seems that you two are very curious about the situation in this house. Yunfan said to the two of them. You are right. We are curious about what is in here. Mondo nodded and responded. I have never seen you before. It seems that you have just obtained this place and want to find out, right? Yunfan nodded slightly. In that case, how about we cooperate sincerely? Mondo said. Sounds good indeed. Yunfan smiled and nodded. The night has become hazy. As soon as they arrived at the gate of the house, a gust of cold wind blew towards them. Yunfan and Mengdo immediately looked at them warily. Lena felt nervous and took out a large number of magic scrolls. With it in hand, he is ready to throw the magic scroll in his hand at any time. Yunfan involuntarily released the shadow demon. What Yunfan did not expect was that the shadow demon could not stay 5 meters away from Yunfan. This made Yunfan slightly shocked. This was the first time he encountered such a situation. The inexhaustible exploration method in the past actually failed today, which made Yunfan feel slightly nervous. Ji Yunfan took out a few magic flashlights from his space ring and turned on the magic flashlights directly. The white light emitted from the magic flashlights surprised the two brothers and sisters slightly, but then they stared at it very curiously. The magic flashlight in Ji Yunfan's hand. "What is this thing on your hand? It looks very interesting," Lorna asked curiously. "This thing is called a magic flashlight. I bought it from the grocery store in Grom City on the West Bank. It seems that I bought it right at the beginning. It is really a must-have for traveling at night," Ji Yunfan replied with a smile. It turns out that this thing was bought from Grom City on the west coast. No wonder it is so magical. I heard that there is a very mysterious city lord in that small town. The city lord likes to study messy things. I think this thing was researched by that city lord, Lorna said thoughtfully. What does it mean to like to study messy things? Isn't it right? I heard that he also invented some magic air conditioners and magic fans. They are all luxuries in the aristocratic circle. Aren't alchemists supposed to research some weapons or something? Said Rona. Maybe it's because this city lord is very kind, but not necessarily, Ji Yunfan said with a smile. Pull her down. If that city chief is kind, then there will be no kind people. He even invented the magic crystal cannon, something that even the saint level powerhouses are afraid of. He also said that she is kind. Lorna said fiercely. It seems that you have a strong opinion about the Lord of Grom City on the West Bank. Have you met him? Ji Yunfan was a little curious. This girl, who had never been masked before, seemed to hate him very much. Of course I haven't seen it, but I often hear my father mention it. Does your father often say that the Lord of Grom City on the West Bank is not good? Ji Yunfan squinted his eyes slightly, seeming to be thinking about something. That's not true. Anyway, I just think that guy is annoying, Lorna said viciously. Lorna, don't talk nonsense. Mondo glared at Leona fiercely and then said, the Lord of Grom City on the West Bank is an extraordinary person. If he hadn't invented the magic crystal cannon and the magic gun Grom on the West Bank, the city has long been captured by the Orrible Empire. If it weren't for the rock-solid place there, I'm afraid our Eastern Legion would be in even more trouble. Ji Yunfan didn't expect that the young master from the Eastern Legion's family was still a fan of him and would scold him for him. My own sister. Ji Yunfan heard Lorna muttering in a low voice. That kid is about the same age as me. Why is he so good? Ji Yunfan finally understood that maybe in Lorna's father's words, he became the child of an ordinary family on Earth. Parents always compare their own children with other people's children, and always use other people's children as examples to educate their children. Ji Yunfan gave the magic flashlight he took out from the space ring to each of the two people, then told them how to use the magic flashlight, and then opened the door first. The house was very large and empty, and the entire courtyard seemed to blend in with the darkness. What surprised the three people the most was that there was no sound of insects or birds in the entire courtyard. The three people slowly walked into the house, but Lorna held Mondo's arm tightly with her hands. Didn't I tell you a long time ago? I told you not to follow, Mondo said angrily to Lorna beside him. You are allowed to come out by yourself, but not me. Rona rolled her eyes at Mondo. We're already here. Don't make trouble here, Ji Yunfan said to the two of them calmly. Not long after the three people entered the courtyard, deep in the courtyard, a black shadow had noticed the three of them. I had a very bad feeling, as if something was watching us. Chapter 406, Tree of the Dead. Mondo suddenly explained, I have a very special ability, which is an intuition about crisis. Brother, please don't scare me, okay? Rona was indeed frightened by Mondo's words, and couldn't help but hold her hand tighter. I just had a feeling of being spied on, Ji Yunfan said slowly. Ji Yunfan, don't say it's so scary. Rona couldn't help but shudder. I don't know what the three of you came here in the dark night for. At this time, a dark shadow came from far away. In the light of the magic bracelet, the three people vaguely saw that this was a middle-aged man in a black robe. His eyes were calm and his face was pale, as if there was no blood at all. Seeing someone appear, Ji Yunfan and the other two felt a little nervous. Although the previous gloomy feeling of this place was still there, the sense of crisis was indeed stronger. Uncle, the three of us are adventurers. We accidentally heard that this place is very strange, so we want to come here to find out, Mondo said. Rona then noticed the layers of protective light curtains on Ji Yunfan's body and couldn't help but secretly guard against it. Ji Yunfan didn't pay attention to other people. He didn't know why, but this house and the middle-aged man who walked out of it all made him feel a strong sense of crisis. Could it be that the middle-aged man in front of him was a strong man who had reached the saint level? If he was a saint level strong man, how could he be here? So you are adventurers. I advise you to leave quickly. This is not the place for you. The middle-aged man spoke slowly. In the swaying of the lantern above his head, in the dim light, his face looked uncertain. After he finished speaking, he stepped back a few steps and turned around. Looking at the back of the middle-aged man who had slowly left, Mondo's expression changed rapidly several times. Instinctively, he felt that he should do what the middle-aged man said, but the curiosity in his heart made him want to find out. What kind of secret is there here? Brother, I think we should leave quickly. Didn't the uncle tell us? This is not the place for us. Rona pulled Mondo's sleeve and said. Mondo couldn't help but look into the depths of the courtyard. The courtyard was pitch black, and even the stars in the sky had long disappeared. It was like a huge demon in the abyss, opening his bloody mouth and quietly waiting there, waiting for someone to fall into the trap. Mondo hesitated for a moment, and finally curiosity overcame reason. He walked in first, and Rona and Wee followed after a moment of hesitation. Ji Yunfan looked around, followed carefully, and walked into the depths of the courtyard. But no one noticed that after they entered the depths of the courtyard, with a bang, the gate suddenly closed. At the gate of the gate, there was a pair of stone hellhounds, and suddenly their eyes turned, and slowly turned blood red. The whole courtyard was overgrown with weeds. In the weed-covered courtyard, there was a bluestone path, but even with the moonlight, it looked dim and blurry, making people a little drowsy. The three of them walked on this bluestone path, surrounded by cold and silence, as if they were two different worlds from the outside. Where did the middle-aged man just now go? Ji Yunfan seemed to have thought of something, and suddenly asked in surprise. Wasn't he here just now? How come he suddenly disappeared? Rona was also shocked. Could it be that we just encountered the undead? It's impossible that the undead have the breath of death on them, and they can't hide it no matter what. But why did the middle-aged man disappear? On the right side of the crowd, there were several strange trees growing strangely, with many purple fruits growing on them. There was obviously no wind in the whole courtyard, but the fruit trees suddenly swayed on their own, but they did not make any sound, which seemed inexplicably strange. Mondo and Rona immediately became alert. Ji Yunfan was at the back, and kept looking around, especially the shaking fruit trees, which made him feel weird. This feeling made him very uncomfortable. He couldn't tell where the strange power came from. Slowly, he smelled a bloody smell. Although the smell was very faint, it was indeed there. At this moment, Ji Yunfan suddenly woke up. Several strange trees that grew strangely were not trees at all. Ji Yunfan's other identity was a life magician and a wood magician. His perception of various plants and trees should be beyond ordinary people. He could even communicate with trees and vegetation. Ji Yunfan's heart skipped a beat and was about to speak. Suddenly, the fruits fell from the tree, fell to the ground and rolled forward. On the surface of the fruit, a ghost face appeared, as if someone had deliberately drawn it, and smiled at Ji Yunfan and others. This is the tree of death. Ji Yunfan seemed to have thought of something and exclaimed loudly. What is the tree of the dead? Rona asked a little at a loss. Although the tree of the dead is called a tree, it is not a real tree. Legend has it that a long time ago, there was a very evil magician who, in order to study the secret of immortality, cruelly killed thousands of humans, and used the flesh and blood of thousands of humans, to build the tree of the dead. Mondo explained. Oh my god, it's so scary. At this moment, those strange fruits suddenly stretched out their hands and feet, holding hands one by one, flying in the air, and quickly flew towards Ji Yunfan and others, surrounding Ji Yunfan, and others with changed faces, and making eerie and terrifying laughter. I didn't expect that humans would come here. I haven't eaten human flesh for a long time. I miss the taste of human flesh. If it weren't for the adults not letting us go out, I really want to eat enough at once. These undead ghosts flying in the air kept circling around Ji Yunfan and the other two, greedily sucking the smell of people in the air. As they approached, a bloody smell hit them in the face, and this bloody smell almost made people vomit their internal organs. Several undead ghosts even ran in front of the three people. Rona was frightened by this situation, and hurriedly took out the weapons she carried from her space and borrowed people, and chopped at those undead ghosts. What the hell is this? If I'm not mistaken, these are the souls left behind by the humans, who were once devoured. Because of the restraints of the Tree of the Dead, they can't leave. Yunfan's eyes flashed with brilliance, and his mental power suddenly spread out. Immediately, a wind blew out, and many undead ghosts turned into ashes directly in this mental shock. However, these undead ghosts turned a deaf ear. Chapter 407 Soul Demon. Rona even had goosebumps all over her body. She couldn't help but circulate the fighting spirit in her body to the extreme, forming a protective film outside her body to ensure her safety. Mondo was also pale. Looking at these strange undead ghosts, he was no longer as calm as he was at the beginning. He looked terrified. He gritted his teeth fiercely and was about to draw his sword. Uncle Lee is here. They quickly retreated to the side of the Tree of the Dead, jumped up and returned to their respective positions, and returned to the appearance of the strange fruit. Didn't I tell you three just now? I told you to leave here quickly and don't stay. Why didn't you listen to me? The middle-aged man who had just disappeared in front appeared again. His expression could not be seen in the darkness, but his voice was a little dull. Listen to me, and leave here obediently, otherwise you will regret it. Mondo and Rona looked ugly and a little at a loss. At the same time, they all had a question in their hearts. What is the identity of this middle-aged man in front of them? Why did the other party let him leave? What kind of secrets exist here? Yunfan was behind, but he still felt a chill in his heart. Was the middle-aged man in front of him an enemy or a friend? Judging from his words, he didn't want them to get into trouble, but if you think about it more deeply, the other party might also want to cover up a fact, and not let others know too much. Can I ask you a question? Uncle, who are you? Yunfan took a deep breath and asked lightly. Who am I? I don't know if I'm still a human now. The middle-aged man paused for a moment, and said with a hint of sadness. If it's not a human, could it be a ghost? Yunfan and the other two were shocked by this idea. At this moment, Yunfan seemed to have discovered something again. The footsteps here seemed to have one more. I don't know since when. The footsteps here are no longer 4 people, but 5 people. But there are only 4 people in front of me. Where did the voice of the 5th person come from? Exclamation mark. Perhaps this sound has been there since they entered the courtyard, but they didn't pay attention to it for a while, or maybe they didn't pay attention to it because of the attraction of the Tree of the Dead. It sounds unusually clear at this moment. As a girl, although Rona is usually careless, she is still very careful about some things. After listening carefully, her whole body trembled suddenly. She found that the extra footsteps were behind her. Her neck felt cold, as if someone was leaning against her. Did you hear that there was one more person? Rona in front of her felt her hair stand on end, and a look of horror appeared on her face. Mondo's breathing also became rapid. The 3 people stopped in their tracks instantly, and as they paused, the footsteps seemed to disappear. Uncle, how many people are there in this courtyard? Rona asked in fear. But the middle-aged uncle did not answer her question, but said faintly, haven't you heard of a saying? It's called curiosity kills the cat beast. Uncle, what do you mean? Rona couldn't help but shudder. The middle-aged man in black robe did not answer, but looked behind Yunfan and the others with deep eyes. Eluona was frightened by the look, and gritted his teeth, and turned back suddenly, but at the moment he turned his head, he suddenly saw a man in black standing behind him, dressed like the uncle, but the man in black covered his whole body, so he could not see his age, or tell whether he was a man or a woman. But the man in black was wearing black clothes, silent and like a ghost. Uncle, is this your companion? Yes and no. The middle-aged man in black robe nodded, and shook his head. Is it or not? Eluona asked straightforwardly. Uncle Lee, why did you say so much to them? Are you moved by compassion? Don't forget who you are now. The man in black who came later said in a buzzing voice. Don't worry about what I do, just take care of yourself. The middle-aged man in black robe called Uncle Lee said expressionlessly. What a fragrant flesh and blood. The black-clothed man who came later said faintly through his small green eyes. The breeze blew, and Yunfan and the other two could see the Ashen face under the black clothes. He looked at Yunfan and the others with a strange smile, and his lips moved slightly. This sudden scene made Rona jump up suddenly and let out a shrill scream. When his body retreated, the black shadow man instantly turned into a black shadow and disappeared in a flash. Rona looked pale and looked around immediately, but there was nothing around. Only the voice of the black-clothed man was left, which turned into an echo and echoed around. Mondo was also frightened and looked around. Although he didn't notice any figure, his heart was not calm at all and was simply trembling with fear. Yunfan couldn't help but frown slightly. As a dark wizard, he was naturally sensitive to the undead. He felt a faint breath of death from the black-robed man, but he could also feel the existence of vitality from that man. The guy in front of him seemed to be beyond his imagination. It was a very contradictory combination. At this moment, there was a faint singing voice floating in the dark and silent courtyard. The singing voice seemed to be there and not there, like a lullaby, but in this quiet and dim courtyard, it made people's scalps numb. Brother, I'm scared. Rona couldn't help but hug Mondo's arm tightly. Ahem. Don't be afraid, brother is here. Mondo couldn't help but cough dryly. In fact, he was also very scared in his heart, but in front of his sister, he had to stay calm. You bastard who pretends to be a ghost. Mondo nervously took out a magic scroll from the space ring. The milky white magic scroll represented his attribute of light. This was a holy light magic scroll of the light system that he specially prepared just in case. It has a great inhibitory effect on undead creatures. I've already told you to leave early, but you didn't listen. Your ending depends on you. At the same time, the middle-aged man in black robes not far away turned around and disappeared into the night. It seems that Uncle Lee doesn't want to meddle in your affairs. This way it will be easy. A strange voice sounded, and the voice seemed ethereal. Chapter 408, Bewitching. Yunfan, I'm afraid there will be some trouble this time. Sakurdin suddenly said. Have you also found something wrong here? Yunfan took a breath and asked. This place is covered by a very powerful magic circle. The two men in black just now are not real bodies, but phantoms. I think it's better for us to leave. Rona took a deep breath. Do you think you can leave now? A faint voice suddenly sounded from everyone's ears. Rona and Mondo had already taken out their weapons and were highly focused at this moment. Wouldn't it be better to stay here with us forever? The man in black spoke faintly, his voice erratic, as if blending into the night. Are you so confident that you can keep us all here? Yunfan suddenly asked. It seems that you haven't figured out the current situation yet. The illusory figure of the black shadow man appeared again, with a bigger smile on his pale face, and even the corners of his mouth were raised, which looked very inconsistent. No matter if he has figured out the situation or not, we'll leave first. Rona said as she retreated immediately. Mondo also retreated quickly. As for Yunfan, he didn't make much noise, because he had already discovered the magic circle here. Even if he retreated, he would just be making circles on the spot. Since you insist on leaving, don't blame me for doing it myself. Isn't it a good choice to stay here and accompany us? The black-clothed man's terrifying laughter came out again, but at the same time his body turned into a puff of black smoke. At this moment, it directly enveloped the entire yard, and it became even darker in an instant. At the same time as the words came out, his body floated up and headed straight for Yunfan and the other two. Mondo couldn't care about much at this moment. He directly opened the sacred magic scroll in his hand and threw it towards the black mist. Yunfan didn't stop him. He wanted to see if his guess was correct. At the same time, Mondo took out another scroll and became cautious. However, what frightened him was that the sacred magic scroll whistled away with a strong holy light, but the black gas did not dodge. With a bang, it allowed the light of the sacred magic to penetrate the black fog. At the same time, the black fog formed a ghost face, looking at Mondo with a strange smile. Mondo breathed rapidly, and his body kept retreating. He gritted his teeth, and unsealed another scroll, and smashed it directly towards the ghost face in the black fog. The roar echoed in the sky. The other scroll was of the fire type, and it exploded directly when it touched the ground. The black gas that rushed towards Mondo was the first to be hit. His body was hit by the fire magic. When he retreated, the black gas on his body did not decrease at all, but he seemed to be unaware of the pain. The ghost face still wore a strange smile, turned around like a ghost, and continued to rush. Why didn't my attack have any effect on you? Mondo couldn't help but roar loudly. He had never encountered such a situation before. A feeling of fear instantly swept through his heart, and he was a little confused. Where the fire magic blasted, countless crisscrossing stripes appeared. Those stripes seemed to be composed of strands of black air, weaving quickly, as if to heal. Everything seemed extremely strange. If I'm not mistaken, everything here is not real, but is composed of a combination of magic arrays. So any attack of yours will not work. You are just attacking the air. Yunfan said in a flat tone. Hey, I didn't expect you to have some knowledge and actually discovered a combination of magic arrays here. The ghost face, made of black fog, suddenly stopped and looked at Yunfan in surprise. But even if you found it, what can you do? You can't break the array. You will be trapped here forever, until you die. You will all die, and become the research material of my master. Yunfan nodded slightly. No wonder. There should be a very evil and terrifying undead magician here. I didn't expect him to ignore the taboos and use living people for experiments. No wonder this place is called the Land of the Dead. It's not groundless. Who are you, kid? Why do you know so much? The ghost face looked at Yunfan with a wary face. It doesn't matter who I am. What's important is that you shouldn't exist in this world. Yunfan said lightly. Boy, you are too arrogant, right? With just a small 7th level, can you fight against my great soul demon? The ghost face said viciously. Oh, this guy who looks younger than me is so much stronger than me, and has reached the 7th level. How is this possible? Rona and Mondo heard the conversation between Yunfan and Ghostface, and both showed an expression of seeing a ghost. Forget it, I won't waste my words with you, kid. I will catch you now, and devour your soul. Then I will know who you are. The ghost face said leisurely. At the same time, under Yunfan's feet, the blue stone slabs moved, and corpses appeared one after another. The eyes of the corpses were dull, and the hands were as thin as sticks. They grabbed Yunfan's legs. Yunfan suddenly flew up, and jumped away from the spot. At the same time, a ball of black flame flew out of Yunfan's body and burned away. The corpses turned into ashes in an instant. It should be said that they had never appeared. Those are illusions constructed by magic arrays. Although the illusions are illusory, if you are injured by his attack, your soul will also be hit. If you die under the attack of this illusion, your soul will be instantly annihilated and die. Your flame is so weird. It's even weirder than the fire of hell. Who are you? Why do you have such a weird flame? This kind of flame can actually burn the soul. The black ghost face exclaimed in disbelief. If I ask you to catch it and present it to the master will be very happy. He likes to study these mysterious things the most. Boy, surrender obediently. Otherwise, you will suffer. If the master is happy, he can also grant you eternal life. Giving me eternal life will not make me look like you, neither human nor ghost, right? If so, I would rather not have this eternal life. Yunfan showed a mocking smile at the corner of his mouth. Do you think you are still a living being now? You can't even be considered an undead. Chapter 409 Fight. Damn it, you bastard actually looked down on me. I must extract your soul and burn your soul with the fire of hell, so that you will live in pain forever. The ghost face roared loudly. Becoming this kind of neither human nor ghost has always been a taboo for this ghost face, and Yunfan actually said it to him in front of him. How did I get it right? It's not easy to maintain this state of neither human nor ghost, right? Let me think. You need to dedicate your soul to the evil undead magician, and you can only survive in this form. Will you be immortal or suffer forever? Yunfan continued. Damn bastard. I must kill you. To hell with your secrets. The ghost face was now completely mad. You have to have this ability. Yunfan continued to sarcastically. Otherwise, can you come out in person and kill me directly? With the help of this magic circle, you can't kill me with the flame in my hand alone. I can't kill you, but I can kill your friends. I can make you live in self-blame and pain forever. The ghost face roared loudly, as if to express all the dissatisfaction in his heart. You can kill my friends? Where are my friends? You don't mean the two of them, do you? Ji Yunfan smiled and pointed at Mondo and Rona beside him and said in disbelief, "We just met at the door. We are not friends, right? Besides, these two guys have a lot of opinions about me. You should have seen it from the beginning. We almost made a big move at the door. It seems to be like this." The ghost face couldn't help but be silent, "But I have to keep you here anyway." At this moment, the tree of the dead, which had originally fallen into silence, became active again. Come on, stay here, and stay with us forever." Only a voice was heard from the tree of the dead. These voices were so eerie that people would be shocked after hearing them. Rona knew that she couldn't retreat at this moment. Her face was pale. She gritted her teeth and took out a green shield from her space ring. It looked like a magical armor. Rona gently moved the button on the shield, and in an instant, two illusory long snakes formed to surround her side to protect her. In front of her, and Mondo also reacted quickly, injecting his fighting spirit into the long sword in his hand without hesitation. "Brother Ji Yunfan, since you know the situation here so well, you should know how to restrain them." Mondo's scalp was about to explode, and his eyes were red as he asked. A large amount of fighting spirit was taken by Mondo's long sword. The fighting spirit light curtain outside his body suddenly increased by more than half a foot. At the moment when the Daoki shield appeared, the undead ghosts that had appeared on the tree of the dead also flew out from the tree of the dead and crashed into the Daoki light curtain. With a bang, the undead ghost actually penetrated 3 feet into the Daoki shield, but was blocked and unable to continue. The undead ghost made a sharp sound, which was penetrating, and made everyone a little deafened and confused. At this time, the world tree in Ji Yunfan's mind shook, and a light green light suddenly bloomed on his body. Then his consciousness became clear, but Ji Yunfan was shocked by this sudden shock. He never thought that the attack spirit of the undead tree was a mental attack, and the intensity of this mental attack was not low. If it were not for the existence of the world tree, he would probably be hit. At the moment he woke up, he saw the undead ghosts turned into countless black gases, trying to drill into Mondo's Daoki protective shield from all directions. Ji Yunfan was sure that if these undead ghosts got into his Daoki shield, this guy named Mondo would probably die instantly. Fortunately, Mondo's Daoki protective layer was not too thin, and those black gases could not penetrate much in a short time. Ji Yunfan waved his hand suddenly, and the black flames burned from his hand again. Go. The black flames burned towards the black gases. When the black gases just invaded the last 7-inch Daoki protective shield, the black gases also burned violently and instantly turned into part of Ji Yunfan's black flames. "This is impossible. What kind of flame is your flame? How can you do this?" The incredible voice of the man in black came from a distance. "Nothing is impossible. It's just that you don't want to believe it. Even if it's your real body, I can burn you to ashes." Ji Yunfan said in a cold tone. "When will you wake up? If you don't wake up now." Ji Yunfan suddenly roared loudly, awakening Mondo and Rona, who were in a daze. "What happened to me just now?" Both Mondo and Rona looked confused. He was still in a state of dullness, but they soon thought of something, and their faces turned extremely pale. They couldn't imagine what would happen to them if Ji Yunfan hadn't woken them up. The attack of the tree of the dead is a mental attack. If any one of you has a magic item that can resist mental attacks, take it out quickly, Ji Yunfan hurriedly said to the two. After hearing Ji Yunfan's words, Mondo and Rona both took out a magic item from their space rings. With their identities, it was quite simple to get a magic item that could resist mental attacks, but the level of this magic item was not too high. "Damn bastard, you dare to ruin my good thing. Didn't you say they are not your friends? Why do you care about their life or death? Even if they are not my friends, I will not allow you to take their souls away. The magic formation here is so strange. God knows what you can do with their souls," Ji Yunfan said in a calm tone. Ji Yunfan didn't expect that he hit the nail on the head. The man in black wanted to use the souls of Mondo and the others to activate another restriction in the magic circle when he couldn't deal with Ji Yunfan. Ji Yunfan's behavior just disrupted his plan, so he was a little angry now. At the same time, bursts of whistling came from all around. I saw those messy weeds wriggling one by one, and they stood up and became tree people, but these tree people were not the same as real tree people. Chapter 410 Fierce Fight. Damn, what the hell are these? Rona roared helplessly. This was the first time she had encountered such a situation in her life. If she had another chance, she would never choose to come here. Mondo's situation at the moment was not much different. Regret spread in his heart. If he killed his sister because of his curiosity, even suicide could not make up for it. What should I do? I must find a way to send my sister away. The undead ghost was very close to Mondo and rushed straight towards Mondo. Brother, be careful, Rona exclaimed. Mondo's body trembled involuntarily. He had never encountered such a danger in his life. Fear instantly spread in his heart. At this moment, his eyes were a little red. Seeing the undead ghost coming, he quickly raised the long sword in his hand, madly activated all the fighting spirit in his body, and slashed a sword in the air. In an instant, his long sword flew out at a speed as fast as a flash of lightning. In the friction with the air, it set off gusts of wind. With a bang, it directly penetrated the body of the undead ghost. The undead ghost screamed miserably, and its body turned into countless black air and fell down, eventually turning into ashes in the air and disappearing without a trace. The power of the long sword did not dissipate. This was a full strength blow for Mondo under the crisis. After destroying the undead ghost in front of him, he went straight to the tree of the dead. At this moment, the tree of the dead actually shook violently, and black air surrounded it. This scene made Mondo even more frightened. Fortunately, the fighting spirit in his body was very strong, supporting him not to be eroded by the black air. At this moment, he was still galloping, and directly hit the black air, making a huge noise. The black air shattered, and a huge hole appeared. You can see a lot of gossamer flying, like whiskers, as if they were about to be rewoven into a new hole. Don't let the black air contaminate your body, otherwise it will corrode your body and turn you into a monster that is neither human nor ghost. Yunfan said in a low voice. I didn't expect you to know so much. It seems that you are a fellow Taoist. Wouldn't you like to follow the master with me? The voice of the man in black came out again. He really didn't have much confidence in Yunfan. His current words were just a temporary measure. He would definitely kill him when he had the chance. Do you feel that you don't have much confidence in getting rid of me? That's why you told me this. Don't be too ungrateful, kid. My real means have not been revealed yet. I just cherish my talent. In this case, I should be grateful for your kindness. Yunfan suddenly controlled the black flame in his hand to burn violently, and directly burned a black flame channel. Rush out of the channel. Yunfan snorted coldly. Then Yunfan shook his body and ran straight to the black flame channel. Rona and Mondo hesitated slightly and also rushed out in the direction where Yunfan left. The man in black didn't seem to expect that the fire released by Yunfan was so powerful that it could open a passage in the magic circle. By the time he reacted, it was too late. The door that was originally closed was instantly burned by the black flame. With a whoosh, he arrived at the door and was about to rush out, but Yunfan's expression suddenly changed. He saw two black pythons rushing in from the door. You can't leave. Do you really think you can come here whenever you want and can't leave whenever you want? At this time, the voice of the man in black came again, and his tone was full of endless sarcasm, as if he was mocking Yunfan and the others for overestimating their own abilities. Seeing that the fire at the door was quickly extinguished, the door that had been burned out was restored. Yunfan roared, and the black flame appeared in his hand again, but this time, several black fireballs the size of a head appeared around him. These black fireballs emitted a faint blue light, but there was no temperature at all. The edges of those black fireballs began to slowly become twisted, and they exploded in all directions, forming waves of fire that scattered everywhere. The giant python was forced to retreat a little. This is really not a place to stay for a long time. The most important thing now is to leave here first. Yunfan's black flame played its unparalleled role at the most critical moment, and the powerful force directly opened up a passage again. Mondo and Rona also reacted and quickly ran towards the passage. Finally escaped. Yunfan, Mondo and the other two rushed out of the passage and couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. This place is really too scary. Let's leave quickly, Rona said, terrified. At this moment, a faint voice suddenly came from behind them. Since you have come here, why do you want to leave? Yunfan and the other two turned their heads involuntarily and saw a black shadow flying behind them, like a real ghost, with a black robe moving without wind. This is the true body of the soul demon, Yunfan said in a cold tone, and it looks like it will soon enter the holy level. I think you know so much. I'm really more and more curious about your identity. In this case, let me teach you first. Please come down and talk, the soul demon said, while turning into a black shadow, and flew directly towards Yunfan and the others. Yunfan and the other two looked slightly depressed, and they started to attack while defending together, and slashed at the soul demon with weapons together. Yunfan and the other two instantly cut the soul demon into 4 parts, but the 4 parts did not disappear because of this, but turned into 4 complete holes. You can't kill me at all. Come back with me obediently, or you will suffer. Seal the demon. Yunfan's face turned pale. Evil slash. At this moment, Mondo didn't care about hiding, and exerted all his strength. Evil slash is a fighting skill that is extremely difficult to master. It is indestructible and symbolizes invincibility. Lightning flashed and glittered. Mondo was surrounded by dazzling divine light. The long sword swept across, like 1,000 troops. The power of evil slash can be seen. At this moment, that Rona also rushed over, holding a long sword in one hand and a magic scroll in the other. Although Rona was a girl, she was never vague. She waved the long sword in her hand desperately with mysterious power. The magic armor on her body was all transformed into light and shadow at this time, emerging, lingering around Rona, and sweeping towards the soul demon. Chapter 411, Domain Prototype Collision. It seems that you are the descendant of that person, but even if you are the descendant of that person, what can you do? You must die today. The soul demon became excited all of a sudden, as if he thought of something unhappy. From the words of the soul demon, Yunfan heard that this soul demon was related to Mondo's master, which made this guy full of death breath appear in a different atmosphere. It turned directly into a black light on the soul demon's body and floated towards the sky. At the same time, endless death energy condensed for no reason. Yunfan was shocked when he saw this situation. He had already felt the power of the holy level from the soul demon, and this power had undergone substantial changes. Don't let it gather power anymore, otherwise it will be unimaginable soon. The prototype of the field, the purgatory is coming. Only a sinister voice was heard from the soul demon, and then a blood-colored hexagram covered the entire space. Yunfan, Mondo, and Rona were directly trapped in this forbidden spell. The hexagram in the sky became clearer and brighter, as if it was made of blood. The light kept shining, and the 6 symbols flickered. After changing countless times in a complicated order, the whole world became independent. I didn't expect this guy to have realized the power of the domain. This is really a bit troublesome, Sakuden reminded. At this moment, a bloody memory bomb suddenly appeared behind the soul demon. Boom. The whole world was filled with a bloody breath, which made Yunfan and the other two faintly vomit. But at this time, the tragic breath from the bloody altar rushed up to the sky. The earth completely collapsed, and a huge monster rushed up to the sky, shaking the sky. What is this? Rona said timidly. He has already realized the prototype of the domain, and he is only one step away from the holy level. Yunfan said in a heavy tone, his state should be called a semi-saint. You mean the monster in front of you has reached the realm of a semi-saint? Mondo obviously knew something. This was the case, and he was more terrified. Almost in an instant, Yunfan and the others felt that their souls were about to leave their bodies. Everyone almost fell to the ground. The altar seemed to have some magic power. Yunfan and the others felt that their strength was fading little by little. At this moment, 2 huge blood-red eyes like lanterns flew out from the altar, approaching from far away in the darkness, and were approaching quickly. That is a demon suppressed by the gods in the hell world. This guy actually released this thing. Who else in this world can suppress it? Eluona and the others felt like they were falling into an ice cellar. They felt completely desperate. I'm afraid that, even if there is a real god appearing, it may not be able to subdue such a world-class demon, unless the god comes in person. Do you want to lose your life because of your curiosity? Damn it, what should I do to survive? Exclamation mark. Clang at this moment, the altar suddenly trembled, and the two blood-red eyes like red lanterns in the distance suddenly froze, as if they were in doubt, and stopped moving forward. Prototype of domain, virtual world. Yunfan said indifferently. At this moment, he seemed to have become the master of the world, mysterious and vicissitudes, unattainable. Both Rona and Mondo were exhausted. Their souls almost left their bodies. The strange altar had incredible power, and seemed to be able to absorb people's souls. All of this was too incredible. What was even more incredible was the boy in front of him who was about the same age as himself. What did he just say? Domain. Is a domain so worthless in this world? Exclamation mark. The two prototypes of the domain collided with each other, just like there is no room for two tigers in one mountain, fighting for the territory. The blood-colored domain, that had been covered, was slowly counterattacked by a colorful domain. Although it was not as powerful as the blood-colored domain, this domain seemed more perfect and noble. The virtual world is the prototype of the perfect world. Yunfan's understanding of the origin is now very profound. If it were not for the restriction of his own strength, he could have used the real domain, the perfect world. Who are you? Why have you also comprehended the prototype of the domain? The prototype of the 7th level domain? Even if I tell people, I'm afraid no one will dare to believe it. The soul demon roared with jealousy. In order to become a saint, he gave up everything and became a ghost. But the boy in front of him, who was only in his 20s, had already reached his peak. To be honest, if it weren't for Yunfan's domain prototype, all three of them would have been sucked away by the bloody altar and turned into 3 mummies. The two domain prototypes collided with each other, and the tragic aura came from afar, like a small boat sailing on the sea and a tsunami. The Bloody Sun's domain prototype had stopped there, and no longer spread, but the momentum that was naturally released was still unbearable, and the soul was trembling. Is this the power of the saint level? Rona and Mondo had already collapsed on the ground. Although they wanted to stand up, they couldn't do it. Boy, although you have already comprehended the prototype of the domain, your power is too weak to be compared with mine. You should know that I have reached the prototype of the domain for 10 years. The blood-colored aura surged, and the murderous aura rolled and stirred, shaking the heaven and earth. The whole world seemed to stop because of its existence. There was a surging blood and aura, and 2 pairs of lantern-like eyes in the darkness stared at Yunfan without blinking. At the same time, the whole city fell into panic. Although many people didn't know what happened, they were trembling under this momentum. This breath is the power of the domain. Damn, where does the power of this domain come from? Some strong men who have reached the 8th level, although they have not really comprehended the power of the domain, have already made some speculations, and there are 2 breaths in total. Could it be that 2 saint level strong men are fighting here? Do they want to destroy the whole city? The entire Eastern Legion was shrouded in worry, and everyone was guessing what happened. If there really was a peerless strong man attacking the city, many soldiers felt that they had no courage to fight at all. The feeling of lingering fear made everyone very uneasy, and the unknown made them even more afraid. The direction of this breath came from the land of the dead. Damn, I knew there was something wrong with that place, but I didn't expect it to be so serious. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 412 Collision. Could it be that there is really a saint level strongman hiding there? Could it be that there is really a saint level strongman in this city? And is this strongman an enemy or a friend? If he is sent by the enemy army, the bloody demon phantom, although its body cannot be seen clearly, there are black clouds rolling there, covering the stars and the moon, and covering the sky. Although it is not approaching, the momentum of this world-class demon is still not something that ordinary people can bear. Mondo and Rona both fell to the ground and trembled, without even the courage to resist. Is this the demon suppressed by the gods themselves? It was originally a legendary existence, but it was actually seen in reality, appearing not far away, just like a dream. As a second generation existence, how could Rona and Mondo have seen such a terrible scene? It feels so unreal, although what they see and hear at this moment is really shocking. The rumbling sound echoed, and Ji Yunfan burst out with a powerful momentum, but the black soul demon's strength is even more terrifying. The animals and plants around are all dry, as if most of their vitality has been taken away. TSK TSK TSK. Suddenly, the soul demon let out a strange cry, like 1,000 thunders ringing in the ears, and in the ears of Ji Yunfan and others. This was not a real attack, just the vibration of sound waves, but even so it was unbearable. Mondo and Rona's ears and noses were bleeding. A humming sound came, and around the soul demon, densely packed, black and dense, countless black ghost faces gathered, quickly broke through the light curtain, and rushed to Ji Yunfan. It was the soul demon that ordered these ghost faces. It seemed that it was afraid of Ji Yunfan, so it let these ghost faces test. What the hell are these? Mondo and Rona fell to the ground, bleeding from their ears and noses. At this moment, they were already a little exhausted. You can imagine how terrible the roar just now was. When they thought of the horror that was about to happen, they didn't care about many things. The sense of crisis aroused all their preconceptions. Two people still stood up, but although they were able to stand up, they were still a step too late. The ghost faces that rushed over like a tide directly submerged them. Seeing this situation, Ji Yunfan couldn't help but take a deep breath, but he didn't want to watch them die without help. Virtual world, disperse. A colorful divine light instantly dispersed those ghost faces. The soul demon looked at everything expressionlessly. In fact, at this moment, he was already a little frightened in his heart. You know, the strength of those ghost faces, although not too strong, but because of their special properties, ordinary people can't pose a threat at all. Now Ji Yunfan's order actually dispersed all those ghost faces, which shows that the opponent's domain prototype is more powerful than his own domain prototype. After reaching the saint level, many things are no longer the same. It is no longer a simple elemental attack or a fighting spirit attack, but mixed with the understanding of the original power, which has reached a qualitative change. The rudiment of the domains that have been comprehended are also divided into different levels. Could it be possible that I will capsize here? No. Absolutely impossible. Although this kid has already comprehended the rudiment of the domain, his own strength has just reached the 7th level, which is far inferior to my own strength. The soul demon quickly shook his head and denied his thoughts, looking for death. Suddenly there was a loud noise like a spring thunder. The soul demon just floated up and stood there in the air. Ji Yunfan's behavior had deeply hurt his self-esteem. The 4 soul demons suddenly waved their arms, and for a while black gas was everywhere. One after another black gas fell from the sky, and each black gas was like a sharp sword, as if it could easily cut everything. Those crisscrossing black gas instantly reached Mondo's body. Oh no. Miserable screams came out of Mondo's mouth. Although he carried a lot of magic armor on his body, this black gas had a strong penetrating ability, like a knife cutting, destroying the armor on his body, leaving deep scars on his body. Brother, Rona exclaimed, and stepped forward to help Mondo up. A strong man from the Holy Land appeared in the city, and he is from the Undead clan. Run away quickly and send a message to father. Mondo was weak, and he grabbed Rona's arm and poured the last bit of fighting spirit in his body into it. Let father find someone to save us. Rona's fighting spirit suddenly surged out, and she gritted her silver teeth, supported Mondo and rushed out suddenly, and ran out at a rapid speed. If you want to leave, let's go together. Ji Yunfan watched the 2 people leave, and did not stop them. The 2 people staying here were just a hindrance, and would not be of any use. Leaving as soon as possible would not necessarily be a bad thing for him. Your companions have already left, don't you want to leave with them? The soul demon said faintly. I told you at the beginning that they are not my companions. We just met at the door. Besides, even if they stay, they will not be of any use. Ji Yunfan said very seriously. It seems that you are not going to escape. The soul demon said expressionlessly. I finally met an opponent who can let me go all out, and I also want to see how strong I'm now. Ji Yunfan replied. So you are treating me as a whetstone, but my whetstone is a bit hard, and it might knock a hole in your sword. The soul demon was indeed a little overjoyed. Although he felt that Ji Yunfan in front of him had some skills, he did not think that this kid in front of him was his opponent. Then we have to see the real thing. Ji Yunfan's face was pale. The embryonic form of the domain was extremely consuming for him. He had to fight quickly now. A cold light flashed in his eyes, and when his right hand turned over, the Daluo sword suddenly appeared in his hand. Demon seal break. When his voice came out, the Daluo sword in his right hand was thrown out suddenly, and the position was exactly where the soul demon was. With a bang, the Daluo sword suddenly exploded, and the impact force formed pushed Ji Yunfan back 2 steps. The 4 soul demons jumped up and hit the Daluo sword with a bang, and they were shattered. Daluo divine sword? Sealing demon breaker? Who are you? How come you have these 2 things? The soul demon's tone was heavier than ever. You have to guess who I am. With these 2 things, are you Dante, the descendant of sword god Houston? The soul demon suddenly asked, but why did you suddenly appear here? You actually know my identity? Ji Yunfan couldn't help but frowned. It's you? I didn't expect you to have grown to this point. Chapter 413, A Feast. The master told us to pay more attention to you, and it seems that he is right. Ji Yunfan heard a hint of surprise in the other person's tone. Who is your master? My master's identity is not something that a junior like you can understand. Yunfan, I think the people who pay attention to you should be from the bone cult. Sakuden said in a very heavy tone. You should know that the soul demons were originally evil creatures developed by the Immortal Legion. I was actually noticed by the people of the bone cult. This is not a good sign. Ji Yunfan couldn't help but take a breath and muttered to himself. Then Ji Yunfan thought of something. Forget it, I can't care so much. The right way is to work hard to improve my strength. Bloody hell. With the advent of the bloody hell, hundreds of dead bodies crawled out of the altar in an instant. In the distance, the corpses that crawled out of the bloody altar roared one by one. They were arrogant, spewing clouds and mist, and slowly approached. The bloody full moon as big as a wash basin shone in the darkness, hanging in the sky like a lantern. When the corpses approached, the tragic aura was definitely condensed from the killing of thousands of lives, which made Ji Yunfan shudder. Demon Sealing Sword Technique Teoti Feast. The Daluo sword in Ji Yunfan's hand showed unparalleled power under the blessing of the prototype of the domain of the virtual world. Every movement of Ji Yunfan was like a shadow in the wind, and even the soul demon could not see it clearly. The hundreds of corpses that were howling madly fell to the ground. Some had big holes in their chests, and some had their bodies torn apart, and the blood dyed the ground red. This, the soul demon, who had everything under control before, exclaimed in disbelief. He stood there in a daze, looking at the corpses that fell on the ground, and then looked at Ji Yunfan. How could you do this? Is it difficult to do this? Ji Yunfan said in a cold tone. From these corpses, he could see that the soul demon in front of him was definitely not a good thing. In order to perfect his own domain, these corpses were all cruelly killed by him. Why can you not be affected by my magic's sound, and still be able to exert such a powerful fighting force? Ji Yunfan naturally couldn't tell the secret that he owned the world tree. He just smiled and said, do you think I will tell you? Very good, very good. It has been many years since I met such an interesting boy. I must train you into my corpse and let you be under my control forever. Black romance. The soul demon shouted ferociously, and then turned into a ball of black mist and flew towards Ji Yunfan. Ji Yunfan couldn't help but waved the Daluo sword in his hand. Although the Daluo sword cut the black air, it soon reorganized and condensed again. Before Ji Yunfan could react, the black air directly penetrated into his body. Boy, your body is very perfect. In this case, I will accept it with pleasure. Although Ji Yunfan was slightly startled, he was not too panicked. This kind of thing of taking over another's body has happened to him more than once. Every time, those who wanted to take over his body came with great enthusiasm, and in the end, all their souls were absorbed and used by Ji Yunfan, becoming a good medicine to improve Ji Yunfan's strength. If the soul demon wanted to fight him head on, he really didn't have much confidence to defeat the soul demon in front of him. Boy, do you feel desperate? The voice of the soul demon sounded in Ji Yunfan's mind, and the voice was a little complacent. Ahem. I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint you. At this time, a voice suddenly sounded in the ears of the soul demon. The soul demon looked in the direction of the voice in disbelief, and saw that in Ji Yunfan's sea of consciousness, a young man in gorgeous clothes appeared in front of him. No, it should be said that it was not a young man in gorgeous clothes, but a soul. Feeling the powerful aura from the soul demon screamed in fear. Damn it, what's going on? How come there is another soul in this kid's mind? Could it be that this kid has been possessed by someone else a long time ago? No. Why is the soul fluctuation I feel in you different from the one I feel outside? Because the aura you feel outside is mine. At this time, Yunfan's soul also appeared in his sea of consciousness. Damn it, what's going on? The soul demon asked blankly. Why are there two souls in one body? Because he failed to possess my body. Yunfan said lightly. Ahem. Can we not talk about this topic? Sakadin coughed dryly. How is it possible? How can such a powerful soul fail to possess someone else's body? The soul demon said in disbelief. The aura on his body is not something that the Holy Land can possess. It should be the legendary demigod. Did the demigod fail to possess someone else's body? Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. The soul demon muttered to himself. Who told you I'm a demigod? Not a demigod. Are you a saint? That's impossible. My master is at the peak of the saint level. The soul demon shook his head, obviously not believing it. You know, since he became a soul demon, his perception of the soul is definitely much better than that of ordinary people. I used to be a god. Sakadin said expressionlessly, as if he was talking about an insignificant matter. How is it possible? How could a god fail to take over a body? You must be lying to me, right? The soul demon roared loudly. What good is there for me to lie to you? Sakadin said. The soul demon was scared. Everything that happened in Yunfan's sea of consciousness was beyond his cognition. For some reason, she had a vague feeling of uneasiness. A voice kept telling him that if he stayed here for a long time, he would definitely die. Senior, little brother, it seems that this is a misunderstanding. There is no unsolvable hatred between us. Why don't you take your Yangwan road and I take my single plank bridge? If we really have to fight, I'm afraid your body will also suffer a lot of damage. The soul demon said with both soft and hard tactics. There is no hatred between us that cannot be resolved. If I were not stronger, I would have been trained into a corpse by you by now, right? Yunfan said in a very calm tone. After hearing Yunfan's words, the soul demon was slightly startled. It seemed that Yunfan was not ready to make peace with him. Are you really going to kill me? Aren't you afraid that I will destroy your body? Chapter 414, Effortless. Soul demon, if you have the ability to destroy his body, then do it. Sakadin looked ready to watch the show. What? Senior, what do you mean by this? The soul demon was a little confused. I mean it literally. If you can destroy his body, then do it. If you can really do it, I might even be grateful to you. Damn, this. The soul demon's face changed slightly several times, but soon he made up his mind, and the ghost face composed of black hair showed a resolute meaning. The soul demon suddenly flew towards Yunfan's soul. Just as it touched Yunfan's soul, a green light suddenly protected Yunfan's soul, and then the green light spread, instantly covering the soul demon's soul. The soul demon's soul instantly felt a special breath, and then he felt that his soul power was fading bit by bit. For a soul demon who has lost his body, soul power is its foundation. No. Spare my life. Uncle Lee. Save me. In just a breath, the soul demon was completely devoured by the green light and turned into the purest power, which was added to Yunfan's soul. Yunfan felt that his soul power had increased a lot. In an instant, Yunfan felt that his mental power had reached a new height. I didn't expect that you kid would break through again, Sakadin said. Hearing Sakadin's words, Yunfan couldn't help but smile. His mental power broke through the 8th level. At this time, a black figure suddenly appeared in front of Yunfan. Yunfan was startled by this sudden figure. Yunfan looked at the black-clothed man in front of him with a wary face. Although his mental power broke through the 8th level, the black-clothed man in front of him gave him a bottomless feeling. A word suddenly appeared in his heart. Demigod. Yunfan couldn't help but shout out. I didn't expect that you, a little guy, are so discerning that you can see my strength. The black-clothed man said with some surprise. Are you the uncle who didn't let us in just now? Ji Yunfan asked calmly, because he didn't feel any murderous aura from the man in black. Yes, I like the word uncle very much. No one has called me that for many years. I really miss it. The man in black said faintly, as if immersed in the memories of the past. Uncle chose to appear at this time, so he shouldn't want to kill me. Ji Yunfan asked tentatively. Hey, how did you find out? If you wanted to kill me, you would have done it in the dark, and you wouldn't have to wait until now. Ji Yunfan said calmly. You're right, I don't want to kill you. The man in black named Uncle Lee looked at Ji Yunfan meaningfully, and then turned and left. Watching the black shadow man named Uncle Lee leave, Ji Yunfan couldn't help but let out a long sigh of relief. To be honest, the black shadow man named Uncle Lee put too much pressure on him. Ji Yunfan was very curious, why didn't the black shadow man named Uncle Lee do anything to him? What did that meaningful look mean? Since there was no intention to hurt him, and the soul demon was dealt with by him, Ji Yunfan decided to go to the yard again. When he came to the yard again under the moonlight, he found that the tree of the dead that was originally planted in the center of the yard had disappeared. Could it be that Uncle Lee has already transplanted the tree of the dead? Ji Yunfan couldn't help but think while standing in the yard. At the same time, Rona and Mondo had also returned to the Eastern Legion's base. The people of the Eastern Legion were shocked to see that the two were covered in blood. What can you do? Why are you so embarrassed? Legion Commander Carl looked at his son and daughter covered in blood and checked their injuries with great concern. Father, hurry up and save Ji Yunfan. Rona couldn't help crying when she saw her father. Ji Yunfan? Who is he? Legion Commander Carl asked his daughter Rona in confusion. Ji Yunfan is a young man we met in the land of the dead. In order to let us leave, that young man fought against the soul demon alone. Rona said. Soul demon? Commander Cole was shocked by his daughter's words. Did you encounter that soul demon? Yes, father. Do you know the existence of that soul demon? Mondo looked at his father in disbelief. Commander Cole carefully checked the injuries of his daughter and son. After confirming that their injuries were not life-threatening, he breathed a sigh of relief. I did know that there was a soul demon there a long time ago. But why did you let that soul demon exist? Don't you know how many people will be killed because of the existence of that soul demon? Mondo looked at his father in disbelief and questioned loudly. How could I not know how many people that guy would harm? Do you think I have the strength to deal with that soul demon? Even if I sacrifice the entire Eastern Legion, I'm afraid I'm not the opponent of that soul demon. Commander Carl said with a very ugly face. But, Mondo looked at his father with complicated eyes and fell into silence. How could this happen? What should Ji Yunfan do? Is that Ji Yunfan your friend? It should have been a long time now. The possibility of surviving under the powerful soul demon is almost zero, so even if we go to rescue him now, it is useless. Forget about this matter. Commander Carl sighed softly. But, come on, send the young lady and the young master back to rest. After watching Mondo and Rona leave, a man dressed as a counselor beside Commander Carl said, Commander, this matter seems to have a great impact on the young master and the young lady. What do you think I should do? The reason why I didn't tell them the matter is that I don't want them to live in the shadow. Now that they have known the truth, they should have the courage to face the truth. Commander Carl said in a heavy tone. Ji Yunfan naturally didn't know that after Mondo and Rona left, the two went to ask their father for help, but after their father knew that they went to the land of the dead, he sent someone to watch them and didn't let them leave. Chapter 415 Hostility. After Ji Yunfan inspected the entire courtyard again, he found that the courtyard at this time was just an ordinary courtyard, and he breathed a sigh of relief, but now he had no plan to move directly into this courtyard. Mondo and Rona became confused after what happened last night. The next day, Ji Yunfan asked a guy to lead the way and went to talk to Hajid and others. Hearing that Ji Yunfan was coming, Hajid was also very happy. He found a quiet place with Ji Yunfan and others and had a pleasant conversation. From Hajid's mouth, Ji Yunfan knew that because he stayed behind, Mondo and Rona both thought he was dead and became confused. Ji Yunfan seemed to have guessed the reason why the two of them became confused and couldn't help but sighed. There are too many unsatisfactory things in life. In their minds, their father has always been a perfect existence. After experiencing what happened that night, they found that their father was not as perfect as they imagined. The day for Ona's birthday party soon arrived. Yunfan met up with Hajid and others very early. Because he was not a special guest, he could only go as a friend of Hajid and others. So he followed Hajid and others and got on a carriage that had been prepared long ago. The carriage went directly to Mondo and Rona's house. On the way there, several people talked about some things. Hajid and others looked at Yunfan in disbelief and said, "No way, boss, you have already taken care of Rona, Mondo and others." Then several people talked about some things about the Eastern Legion. Most of them were asked by Yunfan and answered by Hajid and others. To Yunfan's surprise, Hajid seemed to know a lot about Mondo. Hajid and Mondo actually had the same master. And according to Hajid, Mondo did not seem to concentrate on practicing martial arts. Every time he studied other messy things with their teacher, he spent more time than martial arts. It was no wonder that Mondo's martial arts were not so outstanding, but he was very powerful in terms of knowledge. It was not an exaggeration to describe him as a well-read person. Hajid didn't know much about Mondo, but he said that Mondo was very upright and wanted to be a real scholar. He had a good relationship with his teacher. Mondo had some magical powers and seemed to have many secrets hidden in him, but Hajid and others didn't know. Several people chatted all the way and arrived at the place unknowingly. When Yunfan and others got off the carriage, Yunfan realized that the distance from the Legion headquarters was not too far. After getting off the carriage with Hajid, in front of a magnificent manor, the butler had already politely invited Hajid and others to enter. The status of Hajid and others' fathers was not low, so they were also treated beyond their standards. Yunfan and others walked through a corridor behind everyone and entered a courtyard surrounded by rockery and flowing water. They found that various soft chairs had been arranged around them, and many exquisite and delicious sweets and wines were placed on the flat ground of the rockery next to them. Some people in uniforms were scattered everywhere, holding wine glasses in their hands and talking with smiles on their faces. When Yunfan, Hajid and others came in, several people immediately attracted the attention of the people in the venue. Some people looked at them with envy, while some people looked at them with hostility. It seems that there are also many parties in the Eastern Legion. "Hey, Hajid, I heard that you will go back to the academy in 2 days. On the lawn beside the stream in the distance, a young man with ordinary looks and nothing unusual suddenly exclaimed and walked towards this side with a smile. "Brother Hit, I didn't expect to meet you here. Shouldn't you have gone to Roman to perform the mission?" Hajid greeted the young man with a smile. Yunfan looked at the two people with a little meaning. The two people looked like good friends who had not seen each other for many years, but Yunfan felt a little hostility from both of them. This guy is from Steven's faction. He looks inconspicuous, but he is full of bad intentions. He is the think tank of Steven's faction. Mondo has suffered a lot from this guy. Yunfan looked at it carefully for a few times and couldn't help but sigh that its appearance was so ordinary. Walking on the street, I'm afraid no one would look at him more. This person turned out to be the think tank of Steven's faction. He thought to himself, it's true that you can't judge a person by his appearance. Who is this friend? I don't think I have ever seen this friend. Hit looked at Hajid with a smile, and when he saw Yunfan next to him, he couldn't help but ask in surprise. His name is Yunfan, and he is also familiar with senior brother Mondo. Hajid nodded and replied with a smile, deliberately making a mysterious look when he spoke. Yunfan? He is also familiar with Mondo. He couldn't help but look at Yunfan twice. He was more and more curious about Yunfan's identity. He always felt that there was something hidden under Yunfan's ordinary appearance. Oh, so. Haha, but I heard that Mondo seemed to be in a bad mood these 2 days. I don't know how he is now. Hit said in surprise, then smiled at Yunfan and said, I'm a little busy today. I have to greet other people. I'll be away for a while. Don't be polite, brother Hit. Go and do your thing. Hajid responded politely. After the guy named Hit left, Hajid breathed a sigh of relief with a relaxed expression. It seems that you are very afraid of that guy named Hit. Yunfan said jokingly, that guy is very cruel and ruthless. If you are not careful, you will fall into his trap. Hajid said in a gloomy tone. It seems that he has suffered a lot in front of Hit. It had just left when a young man, holding a glass of fine wine, walked towards Hajid. Before he came to Hajid, the man suddenly saw Ji Yunfan next to Hajid, and his face immediately became gloomy, but he concealed it well. Ji Yunfan seemed to also feel a sense of hostility, and couldn't help but look in the direction where the hostility came from. Only then did he notice the young man standing not far away. Andy Stephen, the guy who suffered at his hands. I haven't seen you for a few days, brother Hajid, but you are getting more and more energetic. I wonder if you have thought about the matter I mentioned to you last time. Andy Stephen walked in front of Hajid and asked. Chapter 416, Bickering. Andy, don't waste your time. I will never agree to your proposal. Hajid's face returned to indifference. He glanced at Andy and said lightly. Andy's expression changed. He stared at Hajid deeply for a few times, and then he said, there is nothing that our Stephen family wants to do that we can't do. I hope you will consider our proposal carefully. Hey, Andy, who are you talking to? A familiar voice suddenly sounded from behind, and then a young man in gorgeous clothes suddenly came from behind Ji Yunfan. The young man, who had a relaxed expression, turned sideways and saw Ji Yunfan, and immediately showed a look of surprise on his face. Ji Yunfan, you are not dead. Ji Yunfan shrugged awkwardly. I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. I meant. Okay, no need to explain, I understand. If Rona knew you were fine, she would be very happy. You know, Rona has been listless these 2 days because of you. She has always felt sorry for you. And his eyes kept flickering, and a pair of strange eyes focused directly on Ji Yunfan, and did not move. Hajid was even more shocked. He never thought that Mondo would be so familiar with Ji Yunfan. Andy, I warn you, Ji Yunfan is my friend. If you dare to attack him, I will definitely make you look good. Mondo warned. Andy's forehead had a few black lines. MMP, who did you attack? I was made miserable by this guy. I don't know. When the melodious music sounded, and many guests outside entered the hall, these people danced in the melodious singing. Some people who didn't bring dance partners, or were not interested, continued to stand alone outside and chat. Rona in the distance, looked a little annoyed, and impatiently dealt with the words of blessing from some people. There was another woman next to Rona, with a disdainful sneer on her face, and seemed to be saying something to Rona, which made Rona's face more and more ugly. My friend, wait a moment, I'll go to my sister's place to take a look. Mondo glanced at his sister, and then said to Ji Yunfan and others. Ji Yunfan smiled and nodded, and Mondo walked towards Rona. Who is the person talking to Rona? Ji Yunfan asked casually. The second elder lady of the Stephen family, and his mother. Hajid curled his lips and said, it seems that the old witch is talking to Rona again. Isn't the Stephen family at odds with the Legion commander? Isn't marriage very common in the aristocratic circle? Your aristocratic circle is a bit chaotic. Brother Dante, it's the same as if you are not a noble. Hajid couldn't help but roll his eyes at Ji Yunfan. Ji Yunfan said, and walked towards Rona's position. What's going on? Mondo walked over and asked with a frown. It's Master Mondo. I'm discussing with Miss Rona about letting her date my son Andy. Andy's mother was wearing luxurious clothes and dazzling jewelry, as if she was afraid that others didn't know that she was rich. Her appearance was barely acceptable, but her figure was a little too plump, making her look a little bloated. Ji Yunfan, you're not dead. When Rona saw Ji Yunfan walking towards her, she looked like she had seen a ghost. Miss Rona, what you said makes me sad. Ji Yunfan smiled slightly. No, I don't mean that. I mean I'm glad to see you. How did you escape? Rona asked happily, because she felt that she was sorry for Ji Yunfan for running away. Rona had been depressed for a few days. Now that she saw Ji Yunfan was alive, she was naturally very happy. Who are you? Andy's mother looked at Ji Yunfan with a scrutinizing look and asked, well, it looks like you are a businessman. This pretty boy, no, this little brother is your friend, Miss Rona. Hey, who is this old lady? After Ji Yunfan came over, he glanced at the lady in surprise and acted very surprised to Rona. Grandma, old lady, although this lady is not young anymore, it is still a bit of an exaggeration to describe her as an old lady. With a puff, Rona covered her mouth and couldn't help laughing, but soon her face returned to normal and she said, "She is the wife of the deputy commander of the army, Mrs. Finner." "Damn bastard, which eye of yours saw that I looked like an old lady?" The lady was extremely angry. She put her hands on her hips and glared at Yunfan. What women care about most is their appearance and age. Yunfan's call of old lady was really cruel, and the lady felt that she was going to explode. Yunfan smiled slightly, then pointed to his left eye and said, "This is the left eye." Then he pointed to the other eye and continued, "And this is the right eye. Both eyes can see it." Eluona's mouth curled up a happy smile. She never expected Yunfan's words to be so vicious. "This is a slap in the face." Then pretended to be very serious and said, "Madam Finner, my friend is such a real person. I'm really sorry. As the daughter of the Legion commander, she is a little witch herself, and her own strength is unquestionable, but she is not good at bickering with others, and she can't bring herself to do so. She has no experience in this area, and she feels very novel when Yunfan starts like this, and Eluona, who is not a good person, naturally follows to fan the flames and cooperate. Miss Rona, Grandma, you are already old now. It would be great if you could just stay at home and enjoy your old age. Why do you still come out to show up? The age difference between us is too big. We can't communicate with each other. If you really can't stand the loneliness, you can find someone of your age to communicate with." Yunfan turned a blind eye to the anger of the noble Lady Finner and said sarcastically. What happened on Yunfan's side quickly attracted the attention of many people, and many people couldn't help but look in the direction of Yunfan. You, get out, Kit, do you know who I am? How dare you treat me like this? I will definitely make you pay." The noble lady took a look, her face flushed with anger, turned around and glared at Yunfan, threatening viciously. "I really don't know who you are," Yunfan said lightly. "You." At this moment, Andy Stephen, who was not far away, saw his mother being bullied and came over. He stared at Yunfan angrily and said viciously, "I didn't expect you, a bastard, to come here and dare to disrespect my mother." Chapter 417 Old Sword Master. Haha, who did I think he was? It turned out to be the second generation young master of the noble family who was beaten to a pulp by me. Yunfan raised the corner of his mouth slightly, revealing a mocking smile. "Damn you, bastard." Andy was angered by Yunfan's words for a moment, and directly took out a long sword from the space ring, and pointed it at Yunfan. "Are you angry? Don't forget, this is the birthday party of the Legion commander's daughter. Is it really okay for you to mess around here with a weapon?" Yunfan had no intention of taking action, because he had noticed that several men dressed as guards had noticed this place not far away, and rushed in this direction. At this time, an old man with grey hair and a cane in his hand, who was sitting on a chair not far away and drinking slowly, stopped. "Can you be quiet for a while? You old thing without eyes, are you tired of living?" Andy was extremely angry, staring at the old man fiercely and roaring, and after the matter was over, he also glared at Yunfan. "Young man, you must be kidding. I'm old enough to be your grandfather. It is not appropriate for you to say such vicious words to me, right?" The old man did not seem angry when Andy scolded him. He actually said to Andy cheerfully. When Andy heard that the old man dared to refute him, he immediately glared at the old man and shouted angrily, "You old immortal thing, who do you think you are? You still want to be my grandfather?" Everyone looked at the old man. However, when Mondo saw the old man, his expression suddenly changed. He looked a little surprised, and finally showed a weird smile. "Pa." Mondo suddenly made a move. He slapped Andy in the face directly and said to him coldly, "Andy, your friend is too rude. We don't welcome such people in our family. Please leave here immediately." Many people's faces changed slightly, as if they didn't understand why Mondo would do this. Andy was even more crazy, and there was a faint trace of blood on his left hand covering his mouth. It seems that Mondo's slap was not light. Not far away, Hit felt something was wrong. When he was about to ask Mondos what he meant, Mondo walked directly in front of the old man, saluted and said, "Grandpa Bit, how did you get here?" Bit. Hit repeated the name twice, and was startled. Then he suddenly remembered the origin of the Eastern Legion mentioned by the second elder and guessed the identity of the old man. The old commander of the Eastern Legion was called Bit, and he had entered the saint rank more than 10 years ago. When he'd thought about it, when he looked at the old man again, he had already guessed his identity. Hit's face changed drastically, and he shouted coldly at Andy in a low voice, "Shut up." He stopped Andy, who was about to continue making trouble, and then Hit said to the old man in fear and trepidation, "I'm sorry, Senior Bit, we are rude. I will take him away now, and come to your house in a few days to apologize in person." Hit's expression now seemed a little anxious, and he winked at Andy repeatedly. At this time, Andy finally reacted, and his expression was confused, but he was not stupid. Although he had not guessed the identity of the old man, from Hit's performance, the old man's identity must be extraordinary. "No need, I will leave after the little girl celebrates her birthday." The old man looked normal, glanced at the two of them coldly, and said lightly. Hit's expression was extremely humble, and others felt a little incredible. You know, even when this guy was facing the Legion commander, he didn't accompany him like this repeatedly, right? Everyone became more and more curious about the old man's identity. "I hope this guy won't bother Rona anymore." "Don't worry, sir, we won't let him bother Rona anymore." Hit dragged the bewildered Andy and walked out quickly. Before leaving, he kept bowing and humbly apologizing to Bit until he disappeared. As soon as he left the hall, Andy angrily asked Hit, "Brother Hit, what's the matter with you just now? How could you just agree for me? Do you know that what you did just now is very embarrassing for our Steven family?" It seems that Andy still has improper thoughts about Rona. "Shut up. Do you know who told you to stop bothering Rona just now?" Hit said in a heavy tone. Andy was indeed shocked by Hit's expression. You know, he had never seen Hit with such an expression before. He couldn't help but ask timidly, "Who is that old guy? Why does he scare you so much?" "Mundo calls that guy Grandpa Bit. Haven't you thought about who he is?" "Grandpa Bit, you mean, he is?" "Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Didn't that guy die a long time ago? How could he be that person?" Andy looked incredulous. "There is probably only one person who can be called Grandpa Bit by Mondo," Hit said dimly. "If he is really that person, it will be really troublesome. The elder's plan may have to. I must inform the adults immediately about this matter and let them prepare in advance." "Young man, I heard what you said just now from a long distance." At this time, the old man suddenly turned around, looking at Yunfan with a sharp gaze, and spoke in a loud voice, "Very interesting little guy." Yunfan looked at the old man in surprise. He stood up and walked over. Yunfan didn't notice that he was sitting there just now. When the old man straightened his back, he immediately looked mighty and extraordinary. He looked tall and broad, but he didn't look old at all. Yunfan had an indescribable feeling about him. "Master? Or is the old man in front of him just an ordinary person? But I didn't expect to come here to participate in my granddaughter's birthday party and actually meet an interesting little guy." "Well, not bad," the old man said casually at first, and then walked towards the hall with a smile. "Who is that old man?" Yunfan asked Hajid beside him as he watched the old man leave. "I didn't expect that legendary figure to appear here," Hajid exclaimed, and then said, "That is the master of the Legion commander, Bit Sword Saint. He was once the Legion commander of the Eastern Legion, and has an unparalleled status in the Eastern Legion. Even the Legion commander dared not go against his wishes." Chapter 418 Birthday Party. Is he just a Saint Domain strongman? Brother, you didn't offend the old Sword Saint, did you? It's not a good thing if he's thinking about you. In this world, strength is respected. No matter how powerful you are not as noble as being extraordinary and holy. Bit's status in the Empire is even more noble. For example, the ancient Steven family would not choose to be an enemy of a saint unless it was absolutely necessary. Hajid had already explained the identity of the old man, but Yunfan still looked indifferent and did not show much emotional fluctuation, which surprised Hajid. "It doesn't matter, haha, you go and do your thing, don't worry about it." Yunfan smiled and said. Hajid listened to Yunfan very much. After Yunfan spoke, Hajid nodded and didn't say much. He smiled and left here directly. In fact, after knowing Bit's identity, Ji Yunfan was also a little surprised, but he believed that he was not powerless to fight back against Bit, so he was not afraid of Bit. My grandfather is very approachable, but the prerequisite is not to offend him. If he knows that you saved my life and my brother's life, he will definitely promise you a favor. The ball has already started, otherwise you can dance with me. After Hajid left, Rona smiled and said to Ji Yunfan. Ji Yunfan smiled slightly, shook his head and said, forget it, I can't dance, not at all. This is not that he was lying, but he has been busy since he came to this world and has no time to learn to dance. If he is asked to dance a dance on Earth, he can still do it, but this is a different world. Rona was stunned and hesitated for a while. When she was about to give up, she suddenly raised her eyebrows and said playfully, it's okay, I can teach you, it's very simple. Forget it, it won't look good if you embarrass yourself in public. Ji Yunfan smiled bitterly and shook his head to refuse. Rona raised her slender white neck and said with some reproach, you are here to attend my birthday party. Is it so difficult for me, the birthday girl, to personally invite you to dance? As soon as the words fell, regardless of whether Ji Yunfan agreed or not, Rona directly took Ji Yunfan's arm and pulled Han Shuo to the dance floor, not allowing Ji Yunfan to refuse at all. Ji Yunfan smiled bitterly, you are forcing a duck to climb a tree. Although Ji Yunfan didn't know whether to laugh or cry, he had no choice but to obey Rona's pulling and walked over. After arriving at the dance floor, Ji Yunfan saw some young noblemen and women, all holding each other's waists, dancing in the dance floor. These dancing postures are similar to the ballroom dance that Ji Yunfan danced on Earth. This dance should not be difficult to learn. When Ji Yunfan was taken to the corner by Rona, he stood there motionless, just squinting his eyes and paying attention to the dance steps of these people, wanting to remember all these dance steps so that he would not be too embarrassed later. Come, hold my waist. Rona twisted her body and stood face to face with Ji Yunfan. She raised her delicate hand and her left hand fell into Ji Yunfan's right hand. Then Phoebe twisted Ji Yunfan's left hand with her right hand and put it on her waist. Perfect, the starting position of ballroom dance on Earth. As soon as Rona's little hand fell into Ji Yunfan's big hand, the two of them felt a slight sway in their hearts for no reason. Ji Yunfan couldn't help but hold his hand tightly. The smooth, warm, and boneless little hand felt very comfortable to touch. Ji Yunfan couldn't help but pinch Phoebe's palm, which made Rona tremble all over, and her cheeks turned red unconsciously. Rona has danced this kind of ballroom dance countless times. For some reason, when facing Ji Yunfan, the path in her heart actually jumped slightly several times. Rona glared at Ji Yunfan and said softly, don't mess around. When Ji Yunfan's hand fell to Rona's waist, the two of them were close to each other and could smell each other's scent. Is this the legendary feeling of heartbeat? Eluona couldn't help but think wildly. Every girl has a heroic dream in her heart. Everything that happened that night is still fresh in Eluona's memory. Some of them have Ji Yunfan's figure imprinted in her heart. Come on, I'll take you to dance, just follow my rhythm. Eluona didn't dare to look directly at Ji Yunfan. She lowered her head and said softly. She took a deep breath, put her empty little hand on Ji Yunfan's shoulder, and slowly walked to the dance floor. Accompanied by the melodious and beautiful music, Eluona seemed to be more relaxed. She didn't continue to be restrained, and didn't dare to look directly at Ji Yunfan. Her beautiful eyes looked at Ji Yunfan deeply with some strangeness, and she whispered to Ji Yunfan to explain the essentials of the dance steps. With Ji Yunfan's IQ of 180, coupled with his current eyesight and intelligence, he had almost understood the rhythm of the dance steps after just observing. After listening to Eluona's detailed explanation, he immediately mastered the essentials. After walking a few steps with Eluona and gradually became proficient from the initial unfamiliarity. Eluona's dance steps have been tempered through thousands of trials. She has good strength and extraordinary flexibility. Ji Yunfan, who has been tempered by the King Emperor's fighting spirit, has even more functions than ordinary people. At the beginning, Eluona was shy and made a few mistakes in her dance steps, stepping on Ji Yunfan's feet. However, she soon got into the state and reached a consensus in coordination. Her dance posture immediately became very harmonious and moving. The two people, leaning against each other and holding hands, cooperated very well, as if they had gone through countless trainings. Often, when Elyona's eyes came, Ji Yunfan could understand what Elyona meant. His steps moved slowly and quickly with Elyona, and as time passed, the speed of the two people became faster and faster. This wonderful taste made the two people feel a strange feeling in their hearts at the same time. After the song ended, both of them felt that they were not satisfied. Then the next song sounded. Rona once again pulled Ji Yunfan to dance. The two of them cooperated tacitly. The beautiful woman and the handsome man danced to perfection again, attracting the attention of many people in the venue. Fuck, isn't that the boss? When did he get so close to Rona? Hajid muttered to himself in a daze. If their relationship is very good, Rona should have invited the eldest brother at the beginning. Who is the person dancing with Rona? Why have I never seen him before? Many people asked the people around them, trying to figure out Ji Yunfan's identity, but Ji Yunfan seemed to have appeared out of thin air, which made them feel at a loss. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 419, Restlessness. Could it be that the rumors are true? Elyona has lost her appetite for a man. Could this guy be that man? At this moment, a middle-aged man in his 40s or 50s walked in from outside. This middle-aged man was dignified and naturally had an amazing aura. At first glance, it was obvious that his identity was extraordinary. At this moment, several waiters appeared from 3 directions. Their eyes flickered, and their steps were slow, as if they were hiding something. Ji Yunfan didn't care at first, but when one of the waiters came to him, Ji Yunfan felt a subtle murderous aura from that person. Murderous aura. Ji Yunfan couldn't help but move in his heart, and then Ji Yunfan heard a very faint tingling sound, which was the sound produced when jade jewelry touched iron. With a slight movement in his heart, Ji Yunfan frowned slightly, and his eyes couldn't help but start to look closely at the 3 waiters who had just come in. At this time, when everyone was quietly dancing romantically, the appearance of several waiters carrying wine trays did not seem abrupt, but the flash of murderous intent was another matter. Although the waiters' eyes were calm, they would always fall on the middle-aged man involuntarily, and there was a cold light in them. As Ji Yunfan observed, Ji Yunfan saw the waiters slowly gathered in one direction from several directions. They came to the middle-aged man in a few breaths. From the eyes of several waiters, Ji Yunfan felt that something was wrong. Killer? Exclamation mark. He came to kill the middle-aged man, but who was this middle-aged man? After a thought, Ji Yunfan leaned forward slightly and almost put his lips to Rona's ear. Rona, who was immersed in the dance, instantly sensed Ji Yunfan's actions, and her heart was beating wildly at that time, and the redness of her cheeks spread to her neck. Rona moved her neck slightly to the left, as if she wanted to distance herself from Ji Yunfan. After moving like this, she quickly looked up and stole a glance at Ji Yunfan, and found that Ji Yunfan frowned, which made Rona even more flustered. Rona, who is the middle-aged man who just came in? Ji Yunfan suddenly asked. What? Rona was a little disappointed, but she quickly looked in the direction of Ji Yunfan's eyes. That's my father. Captain Carl. Ji Yunfan was slightly startled. What's wrong? Rona asked casually. Those waiters seem to be killers who want to harm your father. What? Rona was startled by Ji Yunfan's words, and broke free from Ji Yunfan's arm, wanting to tell her father directly. Their identities are not yet clear. If they are not, it will not look good, so don't make it public yet, and move with me now. Ji Yunfan said softly. Seeing Rona's eyes, Ji Yunfan, who had a tacit understanding with her, nodded. Rona didn't say anything more. She changed her dance steps with Ji Yunfan in tacit understanding. They exchanged positions and consciously and quickly moved towards the direction of Corps Commander Carl. Seeing the crisis approaching, Ji Yunfan's heart became calmer and calmer. His eyes focused on the waiters. In his mind, he thought about their motives. Who sent these killers? Just as the two people approached Corps Commander Carl, the waiters who had been waiting for a long time changed their expressions. A cold and fierce breath emanated from them. The hands that were wiping the table suddenly raised their strength, and their bodies also moved at the same time. The daggers shining with cold light were grasped in their hands, and they pierced Corps Commander Carl like lightning. Corps Commander Carl, who was holding a wine glass and preparing to drink, suddenly changed his face, but when he reacted, the fatal attack had already come. The three killers were agile and clean. At a glance, it was known that they were veterans who had undergone hard training. 7th rank killer. A sharp whistle suddenly sounded, which was so piercing in the melodious music, showing how fast the dagger was. Yunfan turned his hand and rushed into the three people with his bare hands, and before the killer could react, he rushed to the side of the three people at lightning speed. Yunfan and Rona, who had been prepared, fought back at the same time. Rona took out weapons directly from the space ring. Rona swung her longsword and two of the daggers were hit hard into the sky. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yunfan hit his back hard, trying to push the commander of the army, Carl, out. All this happened in a flash, and many people didn't even react to what was going on. Unexpectedly, Yunfan didn't push Carl away. Carl's upper body shook slightly, and his big hand suddenly grabbed the air. After a bombardment, he knocked the last killer to the ground with a loud clang. Yunfan, who suddenly rushed out, completely disrupted the killer's plan. The three waiters ignored him and did not attack again. When the screams of ghosts in the dance floor were heard and everyone was dodging in panic, they quickly evacuated outside. You came to assassinate me, and you still want to leave? As expected of a high-ranking military officer, General Carl said to Baki without showing any panic. Father, are you okay? Rona asked nervously. Your father has been through many battles. What can happen to him? At this time, the dance floor had already become a mess. The nobles were suddenly caught in a change and all fled outside the dance floor in panic. No one noticed Rona's conversation with Carl. Seeing that there were fewer and fewer people in the dance floor, a group of soldiers dressed as soldiers came directly to the hall to maintain order. When they arrived at the door, a sharp whistle sounded, and the soldiers crossed the crowd who were panicking and hiding, and stood in front of Corps Commander Carroll. Report, Corps Commander, we have killed 2 assassins, and another one was captured alive. Interrogate them carefully, and we must catch the black hand behind them. Corps Commander Carroll said seriously, we must find clues from them. Understood. When Carroll and his men were in a panic, the chaotic scene was gradually under control, and Corps Commander Carroll's expression returned to normal, without showing any special features. Young man, thank you for your help in saving me. After Corps Commander Carroll came over, he smiled approvingly at Yunfan and said, I just saw you and my daughter dancing on the dance floor. It seems that you have a good relationship. But when he spoke, Carroll looked at Yunfan with some scrutiny. Don't be polite, it's my honor to save the Corps Commander. Yunfan winked at Carroll and said teasingly. Chapter 420 Assassination Investigation. Good boy, you are neither arrogant nor impatient, you are a great man. After saying this, Commander Carl laughed heartily and said to Yunfan, interesting, there are not many people who dare to tease me like this. I'm sorry, because of my mistake, I frightened you. The butler said to Cole with a worried look on his face. Waving his hand, Cole's face was solemn, with a cold light flashing in his eyes, and he said seriously, Butler Jess, don't apologize. I won't hold you responsible, and you don't have to investigate this matter. I will handle it myself. If it is really that guy, he. After Carl said this, Butler Jess first breathed a sigh of relief, and then said in surprise, does your lord know who did it? Butler Jess, since Commander Carl said so, you don't have to worry so much. A young man in his 20s, said to Butler Jess with a gloomy face. Well, Ross, don't worry about it. I know who did it. Carl glanced at the young man, as if he knew something, and said. Roth nodded, looked at Carl, hesitated for a moment, and asked, Lord Carl, you don't mean them, do you? It's very likely. Commander Carl pondered for a moment and said, this is the end of the matter. Yunfan listened to all the conversations of these people and observed them. He seemed to have grasped something from the speeches of Roth and Carl, but because neither of them talked about any substantive content, Yunfan did not ask too much. Seeing that the whole banquet could no longer continue, Because of the assassination, Ji Yunfan stretched his waist lazily. Although he did not achieve the expected effect, he was lucky to have connected with Carl and others. I think this banquet is over, so can we leave? In this situation, Rona could not keep anything, and sighed and apologized. Well, be careful on the way back, and come back to play with me. After that, she turned around, and left with a red face. Ji Yunfan shook his head slightly. When he was about to leave, Commander Carl said, I will remember you. Come on. He gave Ji Yunfan a strange look while speaking. Ji Yunfan was a little confused. With a smile, Ji Yunfan left the banquet without answering. Together with some nobles, who left in a hurry, they got on their respective carriages, and returned along the same route. Who wants to kill Carl? With his status, there should be few people in the empire, who dare to touch him. The Stephen family is still an enemy country, but the assassination would not be just 3 assassins. After entering the carriage, Ji Yunfan frowned slightly and thought, probing or provoking relations. Things seem to be getting more and more interesting. In order to be on the safe side, Ji Yunfan deliberately released his shadow demons. 6 or 7 shadow demons explored in all directions, always paying attention to the surrounding movements. Ji Yunfan thought for a moment, and said to himself, I helped Carol today, and I may have gotten into trouble, but it's good this way. Being able to have a good relationship with Corps Commander Carol without revealing my identity is definitely more beneficial than harmful. Well, but I have to be careful. Brother Ji Yunfan, I didn't expect you to leave so soon. Soon Hadjit and others also came to Ji Yunfan. In the room, there was only Corps Commander Carol and a man in black. Shadow, have you found out what happened? Is it someone from the Stephen family who took action? Reporting to the Lord, the Black Shadow Man asked, maybe you guessed wrong this time. We have been monitoring the Stephen family, and have not found any action from them. It's not them. It must be someone from the Yoruba Empire. How is the war going on in the front? The news from the front is very bad. Carl frowned and said, what happened? Our 2 armies should be evenly matched. You know, we sent several 7th level masters there. Did the other side send 8th level masters? The black-clothed man said in a deep voice. Just as the commander expected, the other side sent an 8th level master. What? It's really the 8th level? Cole was shocked. The 8th level? That's really a big threat. There are only 2 8th level masters in the Eastern Legion. One is him, and the other is the 2nd elder of the Stephen family. The several 7th level masters stationed there by my Eastern Legion can only barely protect themselves with magic armor. I can only watch them helplessly. The Black Shadow Man sighed. Internal and external troubles. This matter is not easy to deal with. The Black Shadow Man nodded and said, although the 7th and 8th levels are only 1 level apart, they are really a world of difference. Okay, I understand. Cal nodded seriously. It seems that I have to find time to go to the front line. But, hey. Carl suddenly thought of it and asked, Shadow, those guys are getting more and more unreasonable now. Go and help me beat them up. Leave this kind of small matter to me. The Black Shadow Man nodded in response. It took 3 or 4 days for the assassination of the Legion commander to calm down. Time passed, and 3 days had passed in a blink of an eye. Dance. 2 figures in a cave, one man exuding an evil aura, and the other a middle-aged man in black. What on earth is going on? We have been preparing for so long, but we failed at the last moment. Although I don't like that guy, he has been with me for so long. You just watch him being destroyed in front of you? This kind of person doesn't deserve to live, so I don't have to do it. Uncle Lee, don't forget that you are no longer the war god respected by the mainland. So, you still want to order me around. You have to have this ability too. I don't kill you, just because you turned me into a monster now. No one can change what I don't want to do. I really regret it now. Why did I resurrect you in the first place? I'll leave first, if there's nothing else. The middle-aged man in the black shadow turned and left. Asshole, just wait. When I complete my plan, I will definitely destroy you. When he arrived at the door, Ji Yunfan had just pushed the door open to enter, and a dagger had already stabbed at his chest. Ji Yunfan's face suddenly changed, and he wanted to retreat back out the door without thinking. Unfortunately, the dagger was as fast as lightning, and after a flash of cold light, it had already reached Ji Yunfan's chest. Ji Yunfan took a step back, and his body tilted, and he couldn't help but fall to one side. But fortunately Ji Yunfan was very fast, and was able to escape. Ji Yunfan didn't groan when the pain came, and the Daoluo sword suddenly shot out, piercing through the door panel and directly stabbing the attacker behind the door panel. Chapter 421 The assassination continues. Green fighting spirit suddenly burst out, and the door panel shattered into pieces. With the ear-piercing sound of metal clashing, a man with his head covered suddenly appeared in front of Ji Yunfan. In fact, Ji Yunfan had already discovered that someone was following him at the beginning, but he pretended not to know. Ji Yunfan did not expect that this person would attack again after the assassination. This late at night, Ji Yunfan had just relaxed his vigilance and did not pay too much attention. He never thought that the man would attack again, which resulted in the effect of being injured by the sneak attack at the beginning. As a 7th level Black Shadow Man, after experiencing the initial failure, the Black Shadow Man finally realized that Ji Yunfan was not easy to deal with and became much more cautious. Some ideas flashed through the Black Shadow Man's mind like lightning, and then stabbed with a hidden attack. Ji Yunfan looked at the shadowy figure, stepped back a step, then stood still and said calmly, "From the Stephen family? What?" The man in black was startled. With a bang, the back of the shadowy figure suddenly stuck to a solid cold barrier. He turned around and saw Ji Yunfan behind him. His mind immediately changed. He immediately knew that Ji Yunfan was well prepared this time and seemed to have discovered something. This man was definitely not as simple as he looked. All attack. The man in black glared at Ji Yunfan fiercely, then roared gloomily. Then 4 or 5 men in black dressed in the same way appeared in front of Ji Yunfan from not far away. After these men in black appeared, Ji Yunfan concentrated all his mental power and could sense that there was no one else around. Hey, they actually set up a barrier. As a warrior, the man in black was able to set up such a barrier around him. He must have used expensive magic scrolls that did not require magic guidance. Only then could he release the barrier around him, blocking all the ways Ji Yunfan could avoid, including the propagation of sound. The people who want to deal with me are really deliberate. A powerful attack did not break the barrier. Ji Yunfan clearly saw a mocking look flashing in the eyes of the man in black who only showed his eyes. Then several waves of fighting spirit burst out again, showing the appearance of waves churning, rushing towards Ji Yunfan. However, seeing that these people who assassinated him were not the same group as those who assassinated Carl, Ji Yunfan was full of doubts. Was it the Stephen family who attacked him, or had the Stephen family discovered his identity? With a thought, the Daoluo sword, under the infusion of the King Emperor's fighting spirit, suddenly whistled loudly, dancing with an extremely powerful aura, resisting the attack of the black-clothed man's fighting spirit. Unfortunately, when the black-clothed man was halfway through this wave of fighting spirit, he sensed Ji Yunfan's fighting spirit and suddenly a strange power appeared. His eyes flashed. This fighting spirit was vast and incomparable, much more noble than the fighting spirit he practiced. Without thinking, Ji Yunfan knew that the black-clothed people finally exposed their hidden strength and showed all their strength because they sensed an unknown power and were afraid of making a mistake. Those who came to assassinate Ji Yunfan were actually the ones in the Stephen family who died of special drugs. They were all monsters forged by special drugs. They only knew how to obey orders. Not many people in the entire empire knew of their existence. Even the royal family of the empire was just a guess. Ji Yunfan never thought that the Stephen family would send this special team to assassinate him. Although these 3 or 4 people were only 7th level strength, they took care of each other to form a formation. The power made Ji Yunfan, who had reached the 8th level, feel a little strenuous. Combined attack. These men in black regarded Ji Yunfan as the enemy who killed his father, and they tried their best every time they attacked. Perhaps because it was beyond their own strength, these men in black screamed in pain after using the combined attack, and most of the fighting spirit that had just bloomed was also absorbed by them and returned to their bodies. With a loud bang, Ji Yunfan and the combined attack of these men in black fought fiercely. Ji Yunfan staggered back a few steps and felt that his hands were a little numb. Break. Perhaps it was because of the extraordinary performance of these 3 or 4 people. There is no such thing as pie in the sky in this world. If you exceed the strength of ordinary people, you must bear the power beyond the range of ordinary people. At this time, Yunfan found that these men in black looked at his body with horror, and a trace of blood slowly flowed from the corner of his mouth. Now it seems that these men in black must have been injured, otherwise they would not pay attention to him with such fearful eyes. How can you be so strong? These men in black looked at Yunfan in disbelief. You know, when they just received the task of assassinating Yunfan, they didn't care at all, because Yunfan's age was there, and they thought that Yunfan's strength could not be that high. Now it seems that their guess was wrong. Yunfan's weirdness is definitely something that people in this world can never forget. Do you want me to fight like a trapped beast? I don't know who this scene will harm. Yunfan's mouth corners slightly raised, revealing a mocking smile. The Daoluo sword was reinfused with the King Emperor's fighting spirit. With a continuous momentum, it pierced into the deafened line of the men in black with a sharp roar. These men in black also attacked suddenly, and then there was a crisp sound of bang. These men in black looked happy, and rushed out suddenly. At this time, everyone felt that the barrier was broken, and saw these men in black suddenly pass Yunfan and quickly escape to the outside, and their bodies were also a little embarrassed. It seems that he also knew that once the barrier was broken, the plan to kill Yunfan would be ruined, so he immediately retreated. Yunfan opened his mouth, but did not shout out. Now that the black-clothed men who assassinated him had left, even if Yunfan shouted out, it would not have any effect. It would be better to play a long game to catch a big fish. While thinking about Yunfan, he released his shadow demon. Because of the sound insulation, although Yunfan experienced a thrilling assassination, he did not wake up the other palace soldiers. Yunfan sighed with lingering fear. Now some guys are really getting more and more unscrupulous. Wait a while, when I find out the truth of the matter, I will definitely teach those guys a lesson. In this cruel world, Yunfan can only choose to make himself stronger little by little, otherwise he will be the one to die in the end. Chapter 422 Discussion. On the second day, in the morning, Rona brought Mondo to Yunfan as agreed, and the 3 of them sat down. The men in black came last night, and I almost couldn't see you. The door was still broken, and there were obvious signs of fighting around it. Yunfan didn't hide anything, and spoke directly to Mondo and his sister. Mondo was surprised and said, I didn't expect someone to come and assassinate you. Is it because you stopped them from assassinating my father, and ruined their plan? I didn't expect someone to assassinate me. Yunfan nodded and said, but those men in black are also injured. They shouldn't attack again in a short time. You don't have to worry about anything. You injured several men in black? Mondo looked at Yunfan in surprise and asked, do you know the identities of those men in black? I deliberately let those men in black go, just to track down their identities. What was the result? I really found some clues. Those people went to a villa of the Stephen family in the end. If I'm not mistaken, those people are the Stephen family's assassins, and they should not be the same group of people as those who assassinated my father. Mondo frowned slightly and said, but I have also heard of those Deadpools. They are all ripened by special drugs, so although they are powerful, there is no room for improvement. But even so, their strength should not be underestimated. The people who wanted to assassinate me appeared only because I discovered them in advance. But if you think that I'm stronger than those assassins, you are wrong. It was a fluke that I was able to hurt him. If I hadn't dodged in time, I would have been killed by them. The people of the Stephen family are really domineering, Yunfan said with a serious face. He didn't want to talk about his strength yet. Without Yunfan's reminder, Mondo, who was more familiar with the Deadpools of the Stephen family, also understood how difficult these Deadpools were to provoke. Although Yunfan didn't say the situation of the battle last night, Mondo could tell from Yunfan's expression that it must have been very intense. No matter what means Yunfan used, he was able to make those Deadpools escape, which showed that Yunfan was definitely not simple. Based on my understanding of the people of the Stephen family, once they start to fight, they will definitely not show mercy. You must be more careful. Mondo thought for a while and spoke slowly. No matter how many soldiers come, if they really push me into a corner, it's still unclear who will win. Ji Yunfan's uncle said, I need to talk to my father about this matter. That's all for today. There should be a result in a day or two. Then we can talk about it. Mondo said this, and Ji Yunfan nodded in agreement. Then Mondo looked at Ji Yunfan with a complicated look and said goodbye. Rona did not leave with Mondo, but continued to talk with Ji Yunfan. In a mysterious cave in the suburbs, two men in black stood face to face. Is the information you found correct? One of the men in black asked softly. We have been waiting here for 3 days. Another man in black nodded and said, the Eastern Legion has been very tense in recent days. After our last test, Carl and the people of the Stephen family have been at loggerheads. As long as we add fuel to the fire, the people of the Stephen family will have no way out. Yeah. The first man in black said softly, I have been preparing for this day for too long, and it cost a huge price to bribe those guys. If only this plan can be successfully implemented, I will be one step closer to the throne. As long as those people of the Stephen family fall into the trap, their life or death will depend entirely on your will, said the second man in black. Ha ha ha. The first man in black chuckled and said, by the way, have you found out the identity of the boy who saved Carl? I always feel that the kid might ruin my plans. Never seen him. The second man in black shook his head and said, I've seen all the noble children in the city, but I've never seen this boy. Later, after I asked, I heard that he was the president of a small chamber of commerce. He was invited to the banquet because he knew Hadget. But what puzzles me is that he even knows Carl's daughter Rona. There's an evil nature in this kid. There's an evil nature. A fierce light flashed in the eyes of the first man in black. He has such strength at such a young age. If he really has some background, he will probably grow up to be a great general in the future. In this case, I will help the Stephen family and send them to hell. Ji Yunfan naturally didn't know that he was already being targeted by someone at this moment, and that there were more than one family targeting him. If Ji Yunfan could hear the conversation between the two men in black here, he would definitely be able to analyze what happened. Since coming to this continent, Ji Yunfan has had a very bad relationship with the Stephen family, and the Stephen family has tried to assassinate him more than once. Ji Yunfan gave them chances again and again, but they kept getting worse and worse. The Stephen family was not going to stop him unless they could find definite evidence to prove that the Stephen family had betrayed the empire. Ji Yunfan involuntarily took out the secret letter he had found from the Sky Magician and read the contents of the secret letter again. Ji Yunfan felt that the Stephen family had a high chance of betrayal, but it had not happened yet. It seemed that someone was negotiating with the Stephen family about the betrayal. This matter seems to be getting more and more complicated. I hate the feeling of using my brain to analyze such things. On Earth, I only do what I'm interested in. I didn't expect that I would develop myself into a politician in this world. Ji Yunfan couldn't help shaking his head. Forget it, don't think too much. Anyway, the boat will straighten itself when it reaches the bridge. If the sky falls, there will be someone taller to support it. The Stephen family's dead soldiers all have the 7th level strength. I don't believe that there are no strong people above the saint level in the empire. I'm afraid those great masters are hidden. The situation in the entire city is very complicated now. Ji Yunfan still doesn't know how many factions there are. It's just that his performance in Rona's house should make many people think that he is from the faction of Captain Carl. If so, he can use this relationship. Chapter 423 Investigation. The more he thought about it, the more headache he had. Ji Yunfan decided to go to the Stephen family's residence to see if he could find some useful evidence. You know, the Stephen family is a super family, the pillar of the empire. It is impossible to overthrow them like other nobles without a perfect grasp. Ji Yunfan secretly came to the Stephen family's residence and sneaked into the residence carefully. What Ji Yunfan didn't expect was that in the Stephen family's residence, there were many places where his shadow demons couldn't go. The more places these shadow demons couldn't go, the more curious Ji Yunfan was. He felt that the secrets he wanted to get were in these places. But what Ji Yunfan didn't expect was that when he just came to the courtyard, his actions were detected by the hidden exploration magic circle, which was like a radar on the earth. At the same time, under the house, where the Stephen family was located, there was a huge underground building. There was a blood pool here, and countless bones were soaked in the blood pool. There were glowing lights all around, and countless members of the Stephen family were kneeling around, throwing corpses into the blood pool. Men and women, young and old, were crowded together. Every place where a member of the family knelt was actually a node of magic circle. They merged the dead bodies into the nodes around them, gathered blood, and condensed it into the blood pool in the center. In the center of the lake, there was an old man sitting cross-legged in meditation. The old man had white hair, but his face was ruddy and full of evil spirits. He was intimidating without anger. At this moment, with every breath he took while meditating, the blood pool was boiling and rolling. At this moment, the old man's eyes suddenly opened, revealing a hint of blood. Someone actually dared to sneak into our Stephen family. His cold voice echoed in the underground palace. One of the tribesmen in the circle of people closest to it changed his expression slightly. Someone actually dared to trespass into my Stephen family's base. It seems that he doesn't want to live. Second uncle, don't worry, I will send someone there immediately. I'm afraid that your strength alone is not enough. Take Deadpool's first team with you. In fact, the person who replied was also very depressed. When others were responsible for security, no problems occurred. Unexpectedly, a problem occurred today when he was in charge. This situation made him very helpless. Is the person who sneaked in very powerful? Could it be that the old guy Carl came in person? The person who came was not that guy Carl. This guy has a very strong breath of life and should be very young. If we can get his flesh and blood, our divine blood array may be able to make further progress. The old man said fanatically. It's good that it's not that old guy Carl. In the whole Sri Lanka city, besides my second uncle, he is the only one who is at the peak of the 8th level, right? If it is really that old guy who comes, I will definitely do it myself. Humph, although his blood is very vigorous, he is just a little mouse. I have opened the magic circle and sealed the 4 directions. You can arrange people to kill him as soon as possible and bring his body back. The old man said lightly, but he didn't take it too seriously and closed his eyes again. The guy who called the old man second uncle took a deep breath and bowed his head to say yes. Not long after, 7 figures suddenly walked out of the Stephen family's house. The leader was the guy who called the old man second uncle. At this moment, his true body was revealed, and it was actually the 7th level. The other 6 people, the weakest was also the 6th level, and 2 were the 7th level. The invader can't escape. We will kill him directly. The 7 people shook their bodies, and each of them showed murderous intent in their eyes, and went straight to the direction where Yunfan was. At this moment, Yunfan has also discovered the problem. He should be trapped in a magic circle. Damn, has it been discovered? The arrangement of the Stephen family is too abnormal, isn't it? Yunfan muttered in a low voice. Soon, the 7 people came to Yunfan and surrounded him. This scene made Yunfan feel very helpless. He was going to sneak around and find some evidence. He didn't expect that his whereabouts would be under the eyes of others. He faintly felt a very strange magic fluctuation, which was different from his common elemental magic. Boy, there is a road to heaven, but you don't take it. There is no door to hell, but you break in. Do you know where this is? What is this place? Is it a dragon's den or a tiger's lair? Yunfan's mouth corners slightly raised. This place is indeed a dragon's den for you, the leader said gloomily. Even if it's a dangerous place, I'll try to get in and see what you can do to me. Yunfan smiled slightly, as if he didn't care at all, but he was cautious in his heart. To be honest, the atmosphere here was very strange, which reminded him of the land of the dead. A faint smell of blood came into his nose, and Yunfan couldn't help but frown again. Okay, don't talk nonsense to him anymore. Just kill this guy for me. The leader suddenly spoke. After hearing the order from their leader, the other 6 people held their weapons tightly and rushed forward. These guys were obviously well trained, and every move and every style was aimed at Yunfan's lifeline. Yunfan was frightened by this momentum. He quickly took out the Daoluo sword from his space ring and fought fiercely with these 6 or 7 people. Sparks flew for a while. Set up the formation. The leading guy had a ferocious look on his face. He had never expected Yunfan to be so difficult. Ji Yunfan, who was fighting fiercely at the edge of the formation, suddenly felt a throbbing in his mental power. You know, Ji Yunfan's mental power has reached the 8th level, which is strong enough to sense the huge crisis. The invisible fear instantly filled Ji Yunfan's heart. Ji Yunfan even had a feeling that, if he didn't act, he might really die. Retreat. Ji Yunfan retreated at an extreme speed. This retreat just happened to be out of the attack range of the magic circle. As soon as Ji Yunfan retreated out of the attack range of the magic circle, he saw a chaos not far away in front of him. He saw huge whirlpools, as if countless beasts were covering that piece of heaven and earth. The power of the huge magic circle made Ji Yunfan tremble. This thing is definitely extraordinary. The terrible power of the 8th level peak magic circle instantly erupted. Chapter 424 Blood Magic Circle. Ji Yunfan felt that he was a little overwhelmed and looked at the people in front of him with lingering fear. Come and die. A black figure suddenly flew over and turned into a flash of lightning in the sky. The huge power rushed into the sky, and a pair of green eyes were full of ferocity and rushed straight to Ji Yunfan. What a strong strength. Suddenly a black light suddenly shot towards Ji Yunfan. Ji Yunfan quickly blocked it with a sword and only heard a clang sound, and the black light was directly blocked. The guy who flew over even yelled, "Hateful little kid, today is your death." TSK TSK. The sharp and piercing cry came from the magic circle that covered the sky and the earth, and Ji Yunfan couldn't help trembling. Dare to spy on my Steven family. You will pay the price for what you did. The guy who made the move angrily roared loudly. Ji Yunfan could also feel the other party's strength. They were not as strong as himself. However, within the magic circle, the power of these people seemed to be able to be shared with each other. Coupled with the amplification of the magic circle, they could definitely restrain ordinary strong men who had just entered the saint level. Ha ha ha. The leading guy, with the help of the power of the magic circle, pointed to the countless air currents in the distance. Damn bastard, when did you not come? You chose to come on the day of my patrol, which has dealt a blow to my position in my second uncle's heart. And now, you have entered my magic formation. No matter how you struggle, it is useless. You might as well die obediently, so that you will suffer less. Ji Yunfan raised the corners of his mouth slightly, revealing a sarcastic smile, as if laughing at the other party's arrogance. Do you think I can't do anything? It seems that you don't know how powerful our blood magic formation is. The leading man seemed to feel Ji Yunfan's mockery and immediately sneered. Even ordinary saint level powerhouses will be afraid in this ancient formation. No matter how powerful you are, can you really turn the world upside down? Don't just talk here. But no matter what he said, Ji Yunfan ignored him, which made the leader of the Steven family very angry. I want to see. How awesome are you? Can you withstand my blood magic array? Swish, swish, swish. The black airflow was entangled crazily, as if a millstone was crushing the air. Ji Yunfan felt a strong pressure that instantly overwhelmed him. The powerful momentum and airflow were like sharp knives, cutting Ji Yunfan's body. Red blood actually seeped out of his skin. What a difficult magic array. Ji Yunfan had no choice but to use all his strength to operate the fighting spirit in his body, and formed a shield on the surface of his body. However, the knife-like airflow did not stop, and it intertwined with the shield that Ji Yunfan had deployed in the air. Ji Yunfan found that his own emotions and the magic circle seemed to be controlled by an extremely strange power. Ji Yunfan couldn't help but exclaimed, "This magic circle can actually control other people's emotions. No wonder you dare to come to my Steven family's base to make trouble. You can actually discover the effect of our magic circle. It's really not simple. But even if you know the effect of our magic circle, what can you do?" The leading guy sneered and flicked his sleeves. Immediately, a purple six-pointed star appeared in front of Ji Yunfan. The six-pointed star grew in the wind and turned into half a foot in size. One by one, undead monsters crawled out of the six-pointed star, making eerie laughter, and ran straight towards Ji Yunfan. The speed was so fast that when they approached in an instant, the guy pointed from a distance, and those who were pushed out several meters caused Ji Yunfan's body to suddenly pause, and he was immediately surrounded by the members of the Steven family. Ji Yunfan was already very fast, and he didn't think too much. While being surrounded, he suddenly exerted his full strength. With the whistling sound of the wind, his speed suddenly increased by a lot. Before the Stephen family members could surround him, he rushed out in an instant. At this moment, he had run dozens of meters away, and it seemed that his speed was still increasing. His speed increased so much that almost everyone was stunned. Under the suppression of the magic array battle, even an 8th level strongman could not have such a speed. This kid is too weird. We must not let this guy leave, otherwise there will be endless troubles. The leader spoke lightly and waved his hand with murderous intent and rushed straight to Yunfan. When the close combat, several members of the Stephen family who were close to him actually spurted blood. The people of the Stephen family did not know that the special fighting spirit cultivated by Yunfan could ignore the suppression of the magic array. This is a high-level power that checks and balances low-level power. If the one who guided this magic circle was a guy who had reached the saint level, Yunfan's advantage would not exist, but saint level strongmen are so rare. I remember that I once saw this blood magic circle in a family book. This magic circle also came from the Immortal Legion. But the blood magic battle in front of me is not complete. If it is a real blood magic circle, it will be really troublesome. There is another name for this magic circle, called the God-killing magic circle. After a fierce battle, the members of the Stephen family were all covered in blood. Very good, very good. The leader of the Stephen family saw this scene and was furious. He let out a stronger roar, and the speed of his body was actually at its extreme. It actually broke out in an instant, with a bang, as if his body was pulled and directly cut through the sky. He actually jumped towards Yunfan with a huge impact force, driving his body, forming a long rainbow, and instantly approached Yunfan. With the help of the power of the blood magic circle, the leader actually burst out with a power that was not weaker than Yunfan. At the moment, when the flying sword was about to approach Yunfan was suddenly shocked and retreated 2 or 3 steps in horror. He suddenly raised the Daoluo sword in his hand and slashed at the flying sword. With a bang, the 2 swords collided with each other. Yunfan was actually hit by a powerful force and couldn't help but retreat 2 or 3 steps. However, the leader was even worse. His face was pale and his heart was trembling. The sense of crisis that came from his body made him feel scared. The feeling that he could die at any time emerged in his heart. He had a new understanding of Yunfan's strength. The guy in front of him definitely had an 8th level combat power. If he met him in other places, he would definitely be killed. Chapter 425. A moment of thought. You are an 8th rank expert. This scene shocked everyone in the Stephen family. Almost everyone's eyes flashed, revealing a hint of surprise, but soon there was a cold killing intent in their eyes. If I can't use the power of the magic circle to get rid of you, I'm afraid that my Stephen family will be destroyed in your hands in the future. Although I should have paid attention to you at the beginning. As soon as he spoke, the members of the Stephen family around him were filled with killing intent, and they rushed towards Yunfan in an instant, vowing to kill Yunfan here. At this time, the purple hexagram began to rotate, as if to block all the space. At a distance of only 10 meters from Yunfan, a purple behemoth emerged from the hexagram. Perhaps because it was too close, Yunfan did not see its body clearly, but only saw 2 rounds of blood eyes with a violent breath. Woo woo. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew between heaven and earth, like the howling of ghosts and gods, as if thousands of thunders were shaking the earth. In the monstrous purple light, a purple hoof reached down and stepped towards Yunfan. Its shape was the same as that of a human hand, but it was too big. The fingers alone were 7 or 8 meters long. It was bright purple and eerie, which made Yunfan shudder. This is a demon made from the blood magic array. Sakadin's gloomy voice sounded in Yunfan's heart. Although it is only a defective product now, its strength has reached the holy level. Even though the monster was created, it was still earth-shattering and unparalleled in its power when it was born. At this time, the purple hexagram in the sky rotated again, revealing a mysterious and huge passage. No one knew where it led to. It was dark inside, but the purple demon came from this passage. Yunfan couldn't help but take a breath of cold air until the demon completely walked out of the passage. Boom. At the same time, the members of the Stephen family present all showed fanatical affection on their faces, but what they did not expect was that after the purple demon came out of the passage, he suddenly grabbed a member of the Stephen family and stuffed it directly into his mouth. No, save me. No. How could this happen? You are a weapon made by my second uncle, and we are your masters. The leading guy shouted loudly, but the purple demon was not moved at all and chewed the members of the Stephen family madly. You must know that demons have been on par with gods since ancient times. They are the most cruel creatures in the world. Although this is just a defective product, a strong evil spirit emanates from his body. At this moment, everyone present was trembling with fear. Except for Yunfan, they all lay on the ground, and then their bodies were like sieves, completely shocked, and finally retreated as fast as the tide. The whole world seemed to be quiet in an instant. It's not that they are incompetent, but this defective demon is really extraordinary. The momentum alone is enough to kill ordinary people. The evil spirit is so overwhelming that it can completely kill the masters of the 6th and 7th ranks. The surviving members of the Stephen family all stood up shaking their bodies. They now agree that they should quickly escape from here. This is different from what they originally imagined. In the darkness, the eyes of the defective demon became colder and colder, and the huge purple eyes hung in the air like a purple moon. Suddenly, it shot out 2 dazzling purple lights, crossing and sealing the entire space. Seeing this scene, everyone, including Yunfan, changed color. It was our Stephen family who created you. You can't repay kindness with enmity. The leading member of the Stephen family shouted, as if he wanted to negotiate with the demon, but the purple demon turned a deaf ear. This demon is not a good person after all. He will not be grateful, because he was created by the Stephen family. On the contrary, after hearing the words of the Stephen family members, he became more irritable. The people of the Stephen family are really looking for death. This kind of demon created by harming countless lives carries hatred for those lives. If you can't control him, he will definitely tear the person who created him into pieces first. Sakuden said lightly. The purple big hand quickly swept through the void, making a sound of breaking through the air. Everyone's heart sank. This demon is extremely powerful, and it is difficult to suppress it without being above the saint level. The members of the Stephen family felt that the only way waiting for them was death. When the members of the Stephen family felt terrified, another huge hexagram began to rotate, but this time the hexagram was black. The purple big hand of the demon left quickly, as if avoiding snakes and scorpions. There was actually bright purple blood flowing out from the palms and fingers, falling on the ground like a small river, corroding the earth. An extremely cold sneer came from not far away. It was the purple demon gritting his teeth, and the sound made people's scalps numb. The speed of the black hexagram spinning faster and faster. When it reached the original size of the hexagram, it flew directly towards the purple demon. What is that black hexagram? It won't summon another demon, will it? Yunfan couldn't help but ask. The situation seems to be very bad. If I'm not mistaken, the black hexagram is used to control this demon. Once this demon is controlled, you will be in danger, Sakuden said. Sakuden, what do you think I should do now? Yunfan took a deep breath. With your current strength, this demon won't pose a big threat to you, but you can't deal with it either. If the Stephen family controls this demon this time, I'm afraid the Eastern Legion will be in their pockets. If they don't control this demon and let it escape, the whole city will probably be destroyed. The decision is up to you. Is there no other way? Yunfan was very unwilling. If the old man named Bit can't come to help, maybe there is still a chance to kill this demon. Yunfan sent out a very strong suction force from the black hexagram. All the power in the blocked space, where Yunfan and his team were located, was flowing out continuously and gathered together, and finally flowed into the black hexagram. All of this was full of unknowns, and the other members of the Stephen family present were pale. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.